There we go. We're live, but I haven't moved the screen over because we're apparently like 1 minute and 30 seconds too early. What are you saying,
Not
Monkey?
we, not we.
We? Am I just out on my own now? Just out here?
Yeah, it's you.
Damn. Damn, we're early. Allegedly.
Yes, we are.
Allegedly.
One
Yeah.
whole minute.
Yeah. Let's move over to that intro screen. Let's do that. Let's make sure music don't start playing again. There we go. There we go. Top professionalism right there. Is it time yet? How long was that? Did we get it right?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
See,
Yeah,
we have to keep you
3:59 here.
guessing. Yeah, you got like 25 seconds now, so
Right.
then you'll be fine. But I guess we could roll 25 seconds early.
No, we can't do
Yeah.
that. If people complain.
Oh, well, we're already here, and we're already talking to the people out there. So what the heck, you know?
Is it there now? Is that it?
No.
Nope.
It's pretty bad, man.
You should have put the music on again.
Yeah,
Okay,
you had
we're-
time. Okay, now it's time.
It's time
Okay.
now go for it.
It's
Yes,
time.
yeah. It's time.
I obviously don't have the proper voice or whatever, but
yes, everybody, and welcome to High on Homegrown, the cannabis podcast from PercysGrowRoom.com. I am Mackie from the UK, and joining us this week, we have Monkey Do.
Hey everybody, Monkey down here in the southeast US. Temperatures are good here. Nice day today, actually. So I hope everybody else is nice and high and got something nice to smoke.
Nice, and we also have Marge. What's up, Marge?
I'm doing great. I'm on time as always, coming at you from Central Canada and host of Bite Me, the show about edibles.
Little Southern
Nice.
Dig to Mackie, I love it.
Jesus. Gosh, man. Give me such a hard time all the time. This is why it's always off by a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't
but
give
you
me
know,
a hard time. It slows it down. That's
It's
what it
tough
is.
to be on top, man. You want to be the
Jesus.
big man, you want to be the host, go for it. You know, we're gonna have to get you a little bit.
Sometimes. Yeah, I don't know why it keeps doing this. I don't know. But we're only, like a minute and a half. It's only slowly getting worse. So don't worry about it too much, everybody.
It is slowly
Yeah.
getting worse. That's so funny.
No, I'll sync up the clocks again next week and we'll see if I can get it dead on the correct time. But here we
Well,
are.
by the end of
Well,
the year, you're going to be like 10 minutes behind.
I
or ahead.
know. I don't, would people prefer that? I don't know. That's what we do. And I started the music early as well. Like I started 30 minutes early rather than 15 like we usually do. I had to repeat the music twice. Because usually we start at half past when we do the interviews throughout the week. So, well, at 1:45, so the music starts 15 minutes early, So, bit of confusion there, but extra music this week, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, no Bubble Huck this week. He won't be here for the next couple of weeks. Well, he might be able to join us for one of those, but he plans to be away for a few weeks because he's doing some stuff with work. But
Hey,
he will
We
be
all
back
have
soon.
lives, I guess. Yeah.
So, he's got to go make that paper. So he's off doing
Yeah,
that.
we all need it. We all have to have that sometimes.
Indeed.
Pay the
But
bills.
Margie's back from her holiday. Well, he had a long weekend last weekend, just chilling. What was you up to?
It was, well, a bunch of stuff, just sort of like day tripping, and my daughter's birthday
Nice.
was on the Monday, and going to the beach and all kinds of fun stuff. It was actually
Sweet.
hot. Like I was at we did the family vacation a couple weeks before that. And it was like track pants and hoodies the whole week. Finally we got hot weather on the last long weekend of the summer. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've had here in the UK as well. It's like it rained for about 6 weeks, and then for the last week or so, it's been boiling. It's been nice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, they have beaches in Canada.
I was kind of wondering that. Are they sand beaches or stone beaches? What are we looking at?
It depends. I mean, the beach we were at last weekend, there wasn't much of the beach itself it's not very big,
Right.
but it was shallow and very sandy on the bottom, like really far out.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch, so it's a pretty popular beach for families and stuff like that because it's
Yep.
shallow for so far. But
Yeah.
I mean, when
Shallow
it's
water.
hot, Canadians will swim in almost anything. So
Well, the shallow water and the warm temperatures probably made the water feel pretty good, though.
yeah, it was nice.
Nice. Yeah, man. So this week we've got an interesting news article to look at. It's not necessarily a news article, But last week we reported on the whole petition thing in the UK, people signing the petition to get medical users to be able to grow their own cannabis. But there's been a follow-up to that, which we're going to cover in the news, plus other news stories, of course. We have 5 news stories altogether. But there's that one specific interesting one, which I think we'll get to that first, because it's a little long. It's an interesting one. But for the grow guides, we are talking about what you can learn from your previous grows. You know, how to go back to one of your former grows, inspect it, find things that you could have done better, what you could have done to make the whole grow process easier. Just shit like that. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the grow guide section. So, you know, you learn from your own mistakes and other people's preferably. And eventually, you know, you get all the creases ironed out and you get a nice smooth grow on. Just takes time. So that's what we're talking about in the grow guides. What else? Of course, we got the smoke session in the middle. Are we doing a flip or something for that, Monkey?
We got a card draw going on today for the first round of the Riser Solo 2 giveaway, the vaporizer from our new sponsor, Riser. So we will be doing that during the smoke break. We are
Nice.
queued up,
Exciting.
ready to go.
Nice. Yeah, man. Billy's here. Let's give a shout out to everybody who's here so far. We have Twisted, who is on the road again. On the road again. Turpo, BRM, Zesty Air, Shoddy Fusion, Jareth, Filmy Bowls, Skunk Ape, Firetop, Silasin, Backblast, Phil Bushman, Outlawed Pagan, I'm Sparky, Nearsighted on the far side, Undertaker, Gellert, and that's where I stopped writing names down, but there's more since then. So say hello, everybody. Shadow King Vale is here, Super Cropper, Chilbert's arrived, John Finnegan, Billy Bonds is here as well. Unsure. Yes, man. Marvis Parvis. Good to see you all. I hope you're all smoking on something nice. What are we smoking on this week? Are you smoking this week, Marge, or have you just eaten loads of edibles pre-show?
I got some edibles, but I have a little amnesia haze here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
You're smoking that in a joint?
Oh no, I usually use. I have a pack, so I use that a lot.
Oh, cool.
My pack
Cool.
vaporizer. Yeah, I don't really do joints anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As a non-smoker, I used to smoke cigarettes for a long time, so
Yeah.
it's kind of a
Yeah, so you don't
yucky.
want to smoke again. Yeah. Another
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. And I can use my packs indoors, whereas I wouldn't smoke a joint indoors. So there's also that, especially in the wintertime.
Mm-mm. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Vapes are good. Vapes are good. And we're giving one of those away. A good vape, man. Over
It is
on
a good vape.
Percy's. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What have you got, Monkey? What are you smoking on today?
Well, it's really weird because, yes, I also dosed pretty good this morning on edibles, and I have, of all things, amnesia in my vape right now. So
No way, you like twins?
could be.
What?
We're weed twins today.
Whoa.
Samesies.
There you go. Let's see who can get higher first. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I got some stuff called Sugar Kush. I think it was cool. It's nice. It's decent. Good weed. But yeah, that's about it for the intro. Are we ready to move on? You see, look how professional we are. March is around. No messing around.
That's right.
I don't know if she keeps us that straight in the lines, but yeah.
There's loads of stuff to talk about, though. I mean, it's going to be an interesting news section, I think. This one news article is going to be interesting. But they're all interesting, not to say that one is more less interesting than the other. But this one, it's you'll see. Let's do it. Should we go to the news so I can explain this article?
Well, I
Yes,
think we're already
I think we should.
Yeah.
hit the button and go, Mackie. We're halfway there, man.
That's it. It's going. It's going. Well, we're actually going to do that story last.
Such a fancy screen you make.
After all that,
No, we
what you
won't.
always
No,
do.
we'll do it now. There's another story which relates to it that we can leave until the end for retention. Yes. Right, let me get this. Let me get this story up because this is quite a read as well. So this might take a couple of minutes, but I'm not gonna jump in. You know how I interject sometimes to be like these motherfuckers. I'm gonna try and not do that. Okay, I'm just gonna try and read from start to finish without any interruptions, and then we'll discuss it at the end. But it's fucking. It's one of those
so
reads.
you'd like us to not interrupt as you.
No, you guys can interrupt. I'm gonna try and not be. You know how I just go off while I'm reading, and people are like, "Is he still reading, or is that
Right.
off the cuff?" So I'll just try and read through it. I don't want to interrupt too much.
Good luck.
I don't want to interrupt myself too much. Okay, here we go. get into the right one. Okay, so we discussed last week how excuse me. Yeah, dry throat just as I'm starting to do the fucking news article. I need to drink quickly. Jesus, the professionalism is on top tonight. Yeah, so last week we reported briefly about a petition that's here in the UK that people are signing to try and encourage the government to debate home grow for medical cannabis users. And one of our listeners, he filled in the questionnaire and he got a reply from the government. And it did have his name and stuff, but I've changed the name to protect people's identities because we're professionals. And it says, "Dear high and homegrown listener, wink face." That's not what they wrote. See, I'm already interjecting. This is what I mean. I'm going to try not to do that. Okay. The government has responded to the petition you signed. Introduce grow your own laws for legal medical cannabis patients. Government responded. Cannabis cannot be cultivated except under home office license. The Home Office does not grant licenses to grow cannabis for personal consumption, and there are no plans to introduce this. The government sympathizes with patients suffering from distressing conditions and can understand the desire to seek the best possible treatment available. In line with the advice of our experts, cannabis-based products for medicinal use were rescheduled to Schedule 2 under the Misuse of Drugs Regulations 2001. The 2001 regulations on November the 1st, 2018. If the CBPM product is unlicensed, that's cannabis-based products for medical use, that's what that CBPM is. Product is unlicensed, i.e. without a marketing authorization granted in accordance with the medicines legislation applicable in the UK, and is being ordered otherwise than for a clinical trial, the decision to order/prescribe the medicine can only be made by a doctor on the specialist register of the General Medical Council. See how it goes off a little bit legalese, you know what I mean? It's I hate this kind of reading. The
Sure,
law itself. Sorry, Monkey.
I said they're trying to scare you. They're using fancy words that you won't understand, and so you'll stop reading this thing.
Yeah, that's how they roll. Otherwise, they'll put it in nice, easy bullet points for us. You know, it says the law itself does not restrict which conditions CBPMs may be prescribed for, and there is no legal impediment to specialist doctors prescribing CBPM where clinically appropriate and in the best interest of the patients. It is more important to remember that only products meeting the definition of a CBPM in accordance with the medicines legislation were rescheduled. The legislation continues to prohibit smoking of cannabis by banning the administration of CBPMs by smoking. This is when you get your prescription, you're told to vape it and not smoke it, essentially.
Yeah.
The products not meeting this definition, other than cannabis-based medicines that have received marketing authorization and have been separately scheduled, remain a Schedule 1 drug under the 2001 regulations. Schedule 1 drugs cannot ordinarily be possessed or supplied except under Home Office license. Cannabis cannot be cultivated under a Home Office license, and the Home Office does not grant licenses to grow cannabis for personal consumption. It should be recognized that expert advice does not support the substitute of street cannabis for CBPMs. In July 2018, the then government's chief medical advisor, Professor Dame Sally Davies, considered the available evidence of the therapeutic and medical benefits of cannabis-based products in Cannabis Scheduling Review Part 1, Therapeutic and Medicinal Benefits of Cannabis-Based Products, a review of recent evidence. That's the book. And he says, it concluded, and this is where it quotes from the book. See how long this shit is? Cannabis may have active chemicals, and only cannabis or derivatives produced for medicinal use can be assumed that the correct concentrations and ratios. So, that is one of the best arguments they have, is you can't get the dosage right when it comes to cannabis medicines. But that's the only one they have, in my opinion. Using other forms, such as grown or street cannabis as medicine for therapeutic benefit, is potentially dangerous. The evidence that cannabis and some of its derivatives can be addictive or harmful has been known for some time and is not disputed by recent science. So I believe the reasons it is a controlled drug in the UK stand. And not long left now, everybody. The review covers only medical cannabis and cannabis-based medicine products designed specifically for medicinal use. Grown cannabis has over 100 active drugs, which can have a wide variety of concentrations and ratios, creating a different and often severe side effects. Most important are two drugs,
Uh-huh.
tetrahydrocannabinol, usually shorted to THC, and cannabidiol. Cannabidiol, how do you say that word properly? That's right, isn't it? Cannabidiol.
Cannabidiol.
Yeah.
Cannabidiol.
THC has the great majority of the effect, including harmful effects on the brain. Cannabidiol, to some extent, counteracts this because different forms of grown cannabis have different concentrations and ratios of these drugs. Grown or street cannabis cannot safely be submitted for medical cannabis. The law changes of the CBPMs did not relate to the funding of these products by the NHS, which is governed by a range of processes and procedures to ensure equitable distribution of funding. Wow. Prioritizing those medicines that have proven their safety, quality. Oh gosh. Whatever, bro. Just saying. Sorry. Medicines that have proven their safety, quality, efficacy, and cost effectiveness. This is a matter led by the Department of Health and Social Care. Last paragraph now. The government is taking an evidence-based approach to unlicensed cannabis-based medicines to ensure that they are proved safe and effective before they can be considered for a rollout on the NHS more widely. The latest National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, NICE, guidelines demonstrate a need for more evidence to support the routine prescribing and funding of decisions for unlicensed cannabis-based products in the NHS. Until the evidence base improves, clinicians will remain reticent to prescribe, and no decision can be made by the NHS on routine funding. This is why we continue to encourage manufacturers of unlicensed products to conduct research to support the use of their products and seek regulatory approval. And we offer scientific and research advice from the Medicines and Healthcare Productions Regulatory Agency and the National Institute for Healthcare and Research. The barrier to access these products on the NHS is one of evidence, not government regulation, and the DHSC are working closely with regulatory research and NHS partners to establish clinical trials to test the safety and efficacy of these products. The Home Office. Wow.
Wow. Okay. One big thing I hit in there was they're talking about how there's no way to gauge the strength of the cannabis, and therefore there's no way to properly dose the cannabis. But what they don't understand, and of course all cannabis users understand it, there's a extremely wide range of acceptability within your dose. You don't have to be exactly at 52 milligrams. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, that to me is a stupid argument simply because they don't know what the product's all about. Even if you go heavy, if you quote unquote overdose on cannabis, you're not going to die. It's not going to kill you. You may have an uncomfortable night, but that's it. So I don't like that argument at all.
No. They're all bullshit arguments, man. None of
Yeah.
none of it really makes any sense.
I'm like,
Propaganda,
where are they
says
getting their
Billy.
info from?
Sorry, Marge?
So where are they getting their info from?
From somebody they're paying to get the info. You know?
Right.
Because this
Because
happened
I don't
with
think that person knows anything about weed, honestly.
no, he just
No.
knows how to toe the line. And that's how you
Right.
get jobs in government. Because there was a what was his name? Professor David Nutt, who he did a study for the UK government to see if cannabis should be legalized, and he came back, he said yes, cannabis should be legalized, but it didn't have the answers the government wanted. That's not what they wanted to hear, so they fired him and got somebody else to say the opposite of what he thought. It's stupidness.
Yeah, they acting like this stuff is like the most dangerous thing in the world. In
Mhm.
reality, you know, if somebody does overdo it, either intentionally or accidentally, the worst case scenario is they're going to fall asleep. They're going to have a good night's sleep. They'll wake up in the morning. If they way overdid it, they may have a weed hangover, which we all know what that is. It's a little bit of an
Right.
uncomfortable morning, but it's nothing like a drunk hangover.
Oh, God.
no.
So I don't understand really the you know, and I keep saying it over and over and over. I don't understand the government's opposition to this, because you know they keep citing all these dangers, but they're not really dangers. You're not going to harm anybody with this stuff.
Right.
That's it. Pretending like they are interested in our health and shit, and it's just bullshit. They're full of shit, man. They're interested in the
agree.
bottom line and the money they can make. We haven't found a way where we can benefit from this yet, so you just have to stay patient until we do. And then when we do, then we'll allow it.
We've said it too many times, and we teach too many people to grow. It's too easy to grow your own. The government doesn't like that because, now we can't have big businesses out there making this stuff and selling it to the
Especially with
public.
this fucking like cashless society they want us to fucking have. You know, they get rid of cash and people just start being like, here's a couple of hash coins. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The hash will become the currency. They don't want that
Everybody just
happening.
throwing their
that might not
coins.
be so bad.
Yeah, wouldn't it? You know, you just smoke it and shit.
Yeah.
Well, there's some
I
good
smoked all
shit.
my money.
You know?
Exactly. Man, I gotta wait till payday. I'm broke. I smoked it all.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's bullshit here in the UK. You know, they sent that letter out to this person who has filled in that petition. And, you know, last week I mentioned my skepticism towards a petition because we've had these kind of things before, man, with hundreds of thousands of signatures on them and still nothing changes. They'll just pretend like they're doing something. You know, 100,000 signatures on a petition says that Parliament needs to discuss it. That's all they need to do. Discuss it. And their minds are already made up by the shit that's been put in their fucking pockets. We can't fucking convince them with logic. Just a waste of time, man. Don't sit around waiting for the government to legalize. If you want to grow and partake in cannabis, then fucking do so. Don't wait for these motherfuckers to let you do it, because they're gonna be a long time yet, I think.
Yep.
Damn.
Follow the 3 rules and do it yourself, because waiting for the
Just do your
government
thing,
ain't
man.
working. And it ain't working.
It's just stupidness. It's
It
frustrating.
is. Mhm.
But anyway, Marge hasn't done a news article for a while. You want to cover your news article here, Marge?
I do. This one comes from StratCan. Media continues to misreport issues of edibles, kids, and hospitalizations. Let me see here. Now, this is from a Canadian context, but while the media continues to report on hospitalizations of young people in Canada due to ingesting cannabis edibles, a recent study shows that the source of these products is unclear and that many of these cases are due to products from the illicit, unregulated market. The study looked at 160 cases since September 2018 of serious and life-threatening events associated with non-medical cannabis use in Canadian children and youth, as reported by the Canadian Pediatric Surveillance Program. Of these 160 cases, almost 2/3, or 101 out of 160 cases, indicated ingestion of cannabis in edible form. So a lot of those are kids getting into mom and dad's edible stash statistics. Most of these cases, 104 out of 160, did not know the source of the product, while another 20% reported sourcing from the illicit market. 15% said they involved products sources from the legal market, including legal stores, licensed producers, or legal homegrown cannabis. Adding to this is the potential that many parents may not want to disclose that the products accidentally ingested by children came from an illicit source, and some consumers are often not aware that the cannabis products they purchased are from the illicit market, are in fact illegal. It is not uncommon to hear stories of consumers believing that the unregulated brick and mortar online site where they purchased cannabis products was in fact legal, generally due to a misunderstanding around cannabis laws and jurisdictional authority in Canada. While federal and provincial regulations are clear that only cannabis produced by a federally licensed producer is legal, misinformation about supposed gray areas in the law perpetuates this lack of clarity. That kind of makes sense. I've been to some like illicit or legacy market stores, if you will, in Toronto that look pretty legit. So, except for the fact that I can buy a big bag of edibles that I can never buy in a legal dispensary, but I'll one recent example supporting this is a report out of Quebec in which a local physician noted that several children had been hospitalized after eating cannabis products from the black market, products packaged to look like regular candy products and advertised as having, in some cases, hundreds of milligrams of THC. A child who takes a candy with 600 milligrams of cannabis is taking a lethal dose.
Wait a minute now.
true?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Right.
I have a feeling that that's happened. I mean,
Yeah.
kids will eat the whole pack. I don't care what it is. And no, I haven't heard of any kids dying.
Yeah, no, I haven't either.
We did report that one story a couple of years ago. There
Yeah,
was
that was
a young girl
a
who,
Delta 8 or Delta 9 hemp gummies. Those
but
were.
maybe that's what this guy is linking it to.
It's possible, but they didn't even confirm that it was the cannabis that actually caused that death. That was
Yeah,
one
I'd
of the
like
gray
to
area
see.
ones.
Yeah, I'd like to see
Yeah.
why he thinks he can use the word lethal
Anyway,
dose
I'm
here.
sorry to interrupt, Marge, but I can't
No,
take
no, I
that kind
know
of a
that's
statement without
interesting.
stopping right there and saying
But
something about
this,
that.
so this doctor is saying a child who takes a candy with 600 milligrams of cannabis is taking a lethal dose, warned pediatrician Claude Cyr in an interview with Radio Canada. In Quebec, we decided to limit the rate of THC to the SQDC. That's a maximum of 10 milligrams for edibles, which is
Hey.
pretty much the way it is across Canada.
Mhm.
The 10 milligram THC limit on edibles is a federal limit. Furthermore, Quebec only carries a limited amount of edibles specifically geared not to appeal to young people, such as beef jerky and dehydrated vegetables, rather than traditional chocolates and That's ridiculous up here in Canada. But anyway, furthermore, while the media and some researchers try to argue that the increasing number of children or of young people going to hospital because of cannabis edibles is due to legalization, they continue to ignore the sources of these products, as well as the growth of popular illicit edibles entering the market around the same time as edibles became legal. Illicit edibles are often packaged to mimic popular non-cannabis brands like Nerds, Oreos, Doritos, Skittles, and an array of other snack foods. These kinds of products are so common that in 2022, Mars Canada won a lawsuit against several illicit online cannabis retailers in Canada who've been selling products using logos and branding associated with Skittles. There are even examples of these products being sold to children in corner stores.
Damn.
That's pretty bad.
Yep.
While edibles existed in the illicit market even before legalization, these copycat edibles only really began to proliferate in the Canadian market in the 2019-2020, just as legal edibles were beginning to hit the market. For those researchers and writers observing this issue from afar, being unaware of these types of nuances, it could be easy to jump to conclusions and correlate the increase of cannabis-induced hospital visits by young people with the presence of these products in the legal market. But this clearly misses a significant part of the picture. And of course, when you're talking about cannabis, anything that, gets people all riled up is going to get people to click on your article. So, when
Yeah.
they're misrepresenting this stuff.
Ooh, clickbait. My gosh, not really,
Right.
huh?
Yeah. In a previous opinion piece on this subject, I noted that there have been media reports in the past few years of hospital visits due to young people consuming cannabis. None of these publicly available reports appear to be due to legal issues of legal cannabis edibles based on a scan of available news articles. In December 2022, Health Canada released a warning regarding so-called copycat edibles that are increasingly being sold illegally across Canada and are often made to look like the aforementioned Skittles, Airheads, Jolly Ranchers, etc., and popular brands of chips like Doritos and such. Such products are generally of much higher potency than legal edibles, which are limited to 10 milligrams of THC per package and are not allowed to mimic known product packaging to appeal to kids. They've also become much more common in the past few years, showing up in illicit online stores. And again, they're saying sold in corner stores. For example, in 2021, a 3-year-old was taken to the hospital in Ontario after consuming illegal edibles from a package listed as having 400 milligrams of THC. York Regional Police in Ontario last year also seized illegal cannabis products from a Markham convenience store that was selling them to underage teens. Probably not a good idea. So while there may be legitimate examples of legal cannabis edibles leading to young people being admitted to the hospital, the available evidence points to a much more nuanced picture, especially when it comes to the unregulated products, often with very high amounts of THC sold in packaging that can be easily confused with common candies and snacks. So, I mean, this article is just basically saying that if you want to demonize the the increase of kids going to hospitals because of cannabis, then this is sort of the angle that they're taking. But, you're not buying 400 milligram Skittles from any legal cannabis shop.
Right. But I mean, we've said it over and over, and we'll say it again. Adults, lock up your weed, you know?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Especially if you're buying something that looks like candy
Yeah.
to a little kid. Like really, there is a lot of responsibility for the parents here to be like, keep it at your kid's hands. It shouldn't be easily accessible, especially in
Yeah.
those amounts. Like 10 milligrams per package is a very low amount as far as
Yeah.
legal edibles
Fucking
go.
400, 600. Damn.
400 and 600 are huge doses for a lot of people, not just kids.
Yes.
You know, you shouldn't just leave that shit lying around. You got to keep it out of reach. So smarten up, people.
By
Yeah,
all
but
means. I mean, you can't really blame the cannabis. I mean, you got to, this is human behavior right here. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, when they're talking about like corner stores selling them to underage teenagers, I mean, that's just somebody who's not being very responsible.
yeah. Now, I also, looking back on this a little bit, I want to go back and compare this a little bit with the alcohol scene in here. Because, I mean, we have things on the market like Mike's Hard Lemonade that would probably
Right.
appeal to young kids. And maybe there's a spiked root beer out on the market, things such as this. You know, there are
Right.
alcoholic beverages out there that the packages don't look very adult and could very
Yes.
easily cross the road here. So I still feel like they're kind of picking on cannabis again.
Yeah, you make a good point because a lot of those drinks, you barely taste the alcohol in them either, which makes
That's
it far more consumable than if you're, what kid is drinking a nice wine?
true.
You
True.
know,
But I
like,
mean, if you get them
yeah,
one of those alcoholic concoctions or whatever it is, if it tastes nice and sweet, even if it
yeah,
has that little bitter taste, they're probably going to ignore it because, man, this tastes sweet and good. It's supposed to taste good. One of
right.
those things. But yeah, they're not screaming about kids getting drunk on that. And I'll have to guess, in my opinion, I'll say it this way. In my opinion, kids drinking high amounts of alcohol would scare me way more than a kid or getting a hold of edibles. I don't want either one to happen though, but alcohol can kill them. Cannabis will make them very uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, and the whole thing about the lethal dose, I mean, I don't know if that's just the media again misreporting stuff because that pediatrician should probably know that it's going to be not. I don't know what happens to a little kid once they've consumed 600 milligrams of THC, but I don't think
Yeah,
they'll die.
let's just say that don't let it happen is the best way was putting
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Yeah.
There's no way,
Right.
there's no reason anybody should be trying to, be stuck in 600 milligrams. My gosh. That's
Right.
an awful lot, unless you know you can handle it and you have to have it because of an illness or something. But I just can't see 600 milligrams as being a normal dose for too many people. Maybe
I don't think it is I mean, you always have the bubble hawks of the world.
that's what I was going to say. Well, then there's Bubble Hawk,
Right. And those people though, they know sort of that that's their thing. And I don't know how often Bubble Hawk consumes edibles because I feel like at that rate, like when you have to have that much, it's almost like, what's the point? Like if you have to consume 600 milligrams to feel anything, then you're probably better off like with your diamonds and sauce and shatter and all the rest of that shit.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
that's a whole fucking lot to eat. That is damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody in this chat is saying they puke and pass out, which sounds pretty accurate. I mean, it's gonna be super unpleasant, but
Yeah, everybody I've seen that have gone too heavy on weed. First thing, yeah, if they've gone really really heavy and it hits them in, first thing they'll do is they'll get rid of everything in their stomach and then they'll sleep for 3 hours.
actually, it's funny. I was with somebody not that long ago, an adult who accidentally overconsumed edibles a couple of weeks ago, and it was just interesting because I haven't been around somebody who's like overconsumed in a long time.
It's quite interesting because I don't have any weak friends,
Well, she just like took it was one of those like she took an edible and then she's a regular edibles user and then didn't feel anything and then took another one, but this was hours later and I don't know, something about like an edible just sort of kicked in and I don't know if it all kicked in together or what happened because it wasn't like an hour later and like, oh, these edibles ain't shit. It was like like at least 3 hours later or something, but she was not having a good time.
Oh, damn.
So, yeah.
Crazy.
Damn. Yeah. Did you know what to do? Do you give them orange juice, some kind of sugary drink? bring the blood sugar back up. That helps.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they were talking. Yeah, she did have some like juice and stuff, but that didn't really seem to help. Honestly, I find most of the time when it comes to overdosing on edibles is time.
Mhm.
Sadly, like you can try like the citrus or chewing on the peppercorns and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but most of the time it's you just have to ride it out.
Yeah.
I think some of those things, they might work some for some people, but a lot of times it's just not I think the hope that this is going to help somebody makes those people feel a little bit better. Okay, yeah, the peppercorn's working a little bit. I'm feeling a little better.
A
Give
little
them
bit of
something
Placebo in
you know,
it. Mm.
yeah,
something to cling to there, you know?
yeah, yeah. But it was like, yeah, you just kind of had to sort of hang out and just remind her that even though her body was panicking, she was going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
man. So there we
Well,
go. Sorry, Monkey.
can we take a look now at another edible story, maybe?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's do it. Why
Let's
not?
take it. All right. Well, I've got something I'm looking at, and this one comes to us from Pennsylvania, which is actually only a medical cannabis state, and they're trying to get their medical market off to a good start here. So, officials it says no marijuana edibles for now. Officials tasked with monitoring the state's medical marijuana program said this week edibles don't belong in Pennsylvania's marketplace. Concerns about safety, efficacy, and legal enforcement gave members of the Medical Marijuana Advisory Program pause. 6 abstained from voting on the recommendation, all during its Wednesday meeting. Only 2 members supported the proposal, while 2 more rejected it. The vote came after a discussion about the growing popularity of something called troches, an ingestible form of THC that resembles a cough drop. Dispensaries market the product alongside tinctures, which are usually absorbed sublingually. Supporters say some patients dislike the respiratory and digestive effects that come from other forms of cannabis consumption, including vape cartridges, flowers, pills, and concentrates. Edibles offer a viable alternative.
Can we
Critics
just go back
argue,
there
however,
like when it says which users absorb sublingually? Does that
yes,
mean that you only absorb it when you're not talking?
maybe
Huh.
when you're talking under your voice,
Oh, okay.
under your breath.
Sublingually. Okay. I get it now. It makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Sorry.
Yeah, actually, you do know what that means, and I'll go because you said that. We'll go ahead and explain it to everybody else. It means putting it under your tongue. Just that's all it is. Anyway, critics argue, however, that traditional edibles offered in the states come with a higher risk of poisoning, particularly in children, because of the deceptive packaging and underestimated potency. Recommendations, if approved by the board, head to the legislature for consideration. Pending bills in the Senate would bring edibles to the market with added regulations on testing and packaging. Other proposals would eliminate the state's list of qualifying conditions, no longer requiring renewal of access cards, and allow growers to process their own edibles directly for patients. So basically, what this people are trying to say is that they don't think that edibles belong in Pennsylvania's medical cannabis market. I think that's ridiculous. I hate to put me be blunt about it like that. There are just some patients that aren't going to take it any other way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think just based on the fact that so many people are curious about edibles and that's their entry point into the cannabis world,
Yeah.
generally speaking, because they don't want to vape and they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to smoke and they don't, like,
Yeah, this is like, okay, I do this every day anyway. I eat things all the time.
right,
So this is easy. I don't have to
right.
learn how to suck on a vape pen, or I don't have to learn how to light a joint and smoke that. All I have to do is swallow this and I'm done. So
And if
yeah,
you
it's
use
a perfect entrance point.
if you use the recipes on Bite Me, the show about edibles, then they're also going to taste really fucking good.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right. And it's also interesting too, because based on like the article that I was just talking about, where they're like, oh, it could lead to more poisonings and all this stuff. But basically what that article was saying is that that's more happening with products coming from the illicit market. So why not introduce them into your medical program or your legal program so that they're, you know, titrated at a correct dose and there's childproof packaging and they're not trying to mimic, Skittles and stuff so that they're safer
It's
as
just
well.
what goes on here. It's like somebody gets pulled over by the police in Pennsylvania, and they are legal medical cannabis smokers or users. Get pulled over by the old bill, and he's like, "Have you been smoking some cannabis? The car stinks of weed a bit here." And they're like, "Oh no, they only had some edibles." It's like, freeze, get out of the car. you know, it's okay to be smoking, but you can't, you know, because that's how you assuming if they're not going to allow edibles, they just expect everybody to smoke or vape, right?
That apparently that's what they're thinking here is, you know, that for some reason they think that cannabis edibles are going to be unnecessary. I just don't get that. You know,
Wow.
personally, I mean, one of the conditions that I medicate for with cannabis is sciatica. It's just one of those things that, hey, there's a lot of us out there that have this. And I have to say that smoking or vaping doesn't control it nearly as well as edibles. It's just one of the things that delivery system delivers me the dose and it gives me
Mhm.
the relief that I need. Take that away from me, and I'm not going to get the same relief. So this is obviously, to me, the fact that most of the board decided not to vote means that you basically don't have the right people on this board. They don't understand the issues, and they're afraid
Mhm.
to make a decision one way or the other. You know, they've only had 4 people vote, and they had more people not vote than vote.
Wow.
Okay, this is an issue. That means that if I was Pennsylvania, you need new people on this board. You need people that actually know what they're talking about here. Some people that can actually make a good decision. I hate to say it, but you got the wrong people hired.
Mm.
I feel like that happens a lot,
Yep.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
There's
political
government
appointees.
everywhere,
Oh, we
man.
need somebody to talk about this marijuana policies. You need a job? I'll let you go on there. They're not looking for experts. They're not looking for experience. They're just looking to give a friend a job half the time.
Right.
Gosh, I hate that's the United States. That's the way politics works here, you know?
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm.
You probably have enough expertise in legal states that you could get a consultant to come over and actually give you real good information. But hey, man, you could give your friend, your buddy, you know, 100K just to sit around for a couple months and listen to this bull and don't even have to do anything. So welcome to the states and the politics. I hate it.
Nice. So you have one more. Do you want to do yours now, Monkey? You want
Sure, this is a positive story. So yeah, maybe we'll move into a good ending here, huh?
to? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's have a
All
happy
right.
ending.
So this story actually, the story was from I think it came in Friday, so it's already happened. But anyway, Illinois concert this weekend will be state's first to allow on-site marijuana consumption. Imagine that, a music festival where you can actually smoke in public and not be bothered by it. You know, music fans heading to Muddlin, Illinois this weekend will make history as part of the state's first ever concert that will allow open cannabis consumption. Headliners fittingly include the cannabis friendly artists Cypress Hill, Stephen Marley, and Action Bronson. Kicking
Damn.
off Saturday afternoon, which was yesterday, the 2-day Miracle in Muddlin Festival will feature complimentary rolling papers, lighters, and grinders, as well as dab bars and rolling stations for use by attendees. Cannabis products
Damn.
themselves will be available for sale through a retailer located next door. Consuming cannabis will be allowed anywhere inside the 21 plus event, while using cannabis outside the perimeter of the fence is strictly forbidden. Organizers say it's the opportunity for the cannabis crowd to lead by example. Let's show everyone what a responsible and respectful community we are by adhering to these rules and regulations, the website says. The otherwise laid back affair will impose a few other rules, including, according to its FAQ page, including require attendees to follow possession limits that apply to non-residents of the state, meaning you can only come with 15 grams of flour, 250 milligrams of infused edibles, and 1.25 grams of concentrate. Now, if you can't get loaded on that, you got a
Yeah,
permit.
that's doing all right.
This is
That's
only
Hmm.
for
smart.
one show. Yeah, this is all right.
Yeah.
Good.
Just leave the rest in the car, innit? Just go back when you need more than 15 grams. Like, oh, there.
Right.
I'm gonna go
So here
collect the
come
next one.
Here comes the bad news with a little caveat. All products must be purchased from a licensed Illinois retailer in their original packaging, although the package does not need to be sealed.
But that's not so bad then.
Well, you have to have bought a package at one time or another, or at least gotten a package
Mm.
from somebody so you can
Mhm.
stick your weed in there, is what it means. That's all.
I've got a golden ticket.
Exactly. But I mean, it would be bad if they said it had to be sealed in the original package and all that stuff, because that means you had to go buy it. But yeah,
Right.
this gives home growers a little bit of an out. Small smoking devices, including pieces made of glass, metal, wood, or ceramic, may be brought into the event as long as they are no longer than 6 inches in length. Vape pens are also allowed as long as they comply with the state's 2.5 gram concentrate limit. The show runs Saturday and Sunday from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Tickets for the event are still available, although organizers said Monday that they were close to selling out. Illinois legalized cannabis through the state's legislature in 2019, and the first legal sales kicked off a year later. Governor J.B. Pritzker, who supported legalization, noted recently that a third of the state's cannabis sales were out-of-state residents coming to Illinois and spending money at dispensaries.
Wow.
While Pritzker acknowledged that states' comparatively high prices for cannabis products, some estimate they put 89% more taxes on. It costs more, 89% more than other average U.S. legal states. He emphasized that the sector is nevertheless on the rise. We have a growing industry, as you know, the governor says. It is one that I initiated in 2019 and has brought in almost $450 million to the state and local governments. Not bad. According to the report, what's that?
Oh, sorry, I interrupted, but I like this guy's attitude.
Yeah, well, he's doing two things. He's letting them have some fun, and he's also politicking off the fun. So that's a good idea,
Right.
actually.
Yeah.
Let them have some fun, and yeah, vote for me next time you're out there.
Yeah.
According to the report, Pritzker cited Illinois as the third largest cannabis market in the U.S. behind Michigan and California. Products in the state are taxed at 20% of the purchase price, with the rate increasing based upon the product's potency. Local jurisdictions can also add an additional 3% tax, which can bring in a total of taxes to over 40%. Now that's a problem for me if you're taxing cannabis at over 40%. Wow.
Yeah, that's high.
Illinois cannabis retailers sold 149 million in cannabis products in July, the second strongest month since the adult use market opened in 2020. Medical cannabis sales are reported separate by a different Illinois state agency. According to the recent fiscal analysis, a good chunk of the visitors' cannabis dollars likely come from Wisconsin, which officially became the island of prohibition in the region. This region this week after Minnesota's legalization went into effect. The only month that Illinois saw higher sales since opening its market was December 2022, when it was $143,899,826 worth of cannabis was sold. For all of 2022, the state's cannabis sales reached a record high of more than $1.5 billion.
For 143 for 1 month.
That's the month they opened up. They sold 143 million in cannabis in the month they opened. And then just recently almost sold that again. So yeah, they're doing pretty good.
I'll say.
Pritzker has also taken steps to further support of the state's cannabis industry, including by signaling a budget bill in June that includes provisions for allowed licensing cannabis businesses to take a state tax deduction, as they are currently prohibited from utilizing that federal level due to Internal Revenue Service codes known as 280E. So he's going to give the cannabis producers a state tax break. I like him. The governor said in February that the state's cannabis legalization laws has created more than 20,000 jobs since launching in 2020. Pritzker also signed a bill this summer to make it easier for people to re-enter society after being released from incarceration. He said the measure is intended to help people affected by the war on drugs. So they're allowing them to have weed at certain concerts now, and it looks like Illinois is trying to push this a little bit further. I'm encouraged by hearing this. And I'm sure we're going to have some people in the chat tell us that Illinois is not all that, but
And that was also just a little misread. That's 30,000 jobs.
Oh, what did it say?
You said 20.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But 30,000 is still more than 20,000. So you was correct. So I didn't feel the need to correct you.
It's a lot of jobs that it's created.
Yeah, man.
It is.
And a shitload of money. Imagine the boost to the economy. Everywhere else, the economy is failing. There's less jobs for people. The people are getting paid less money. And then in states like this that have legalized properly, there's so many jobs. There's so much money flowing into the system.
Yeah, and what's going to happen? I mean, like if Wisconsin, for an easy example right now, Wisconsin is now an island unto itself. So all these other states that opened early and got the out-of-state dollars, which is federally, not technically supposed to happen, but anyway, all these other states that people, pulled in dollars from out of state. Now these other states, when they legalize, they're not going to have that. So you miss out a little bit. You're a late adopter.
They're like, we just created $1.5 billion in revenue and 30,000 jobs.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And you did it on with something that the bulk of the population of Illinois was in favor of, and that is legalizing cannabis.
Right.
So it's a win-win-win-win. You know, everybody's there. So I love it. But yeah, I would have loved to, you know, when I told the wife about this, when I got the article, she says, "When is it we're going?" I said, "Well, sorry, it's tomorrow."
Oh.
There's
She
still
was all
time.
pumped up, like, "Let's go." Mackie has met Mrs. Monkey, and yeah, she's always up for a good party, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So when did
Yeah.
this concert, is it happening like now?
Oh, it happened yesterday. It was Saturday.
Oh,
Oh man.
but it's Saturday and Sunday, wasn't it? Wasn't it a 2 day?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Thanks.
Kicking off Saturday afternoon, 2-day Miracle in Mundalen Festivals. It was 2 days, so it just ended today. But yeah, hope everybody smoked a lot of good weed and had a real good time. I know the bands were excellent there, actually perfect for a cannabis type
Dr. Green Thumb drops
environment.
on and hits up the bong, you know, you got the
Oh.
bong sound kicking. Imagine how smoky it got when those tunes were on. Shit.
Well, I was thinking, yeah, they couldn't bring in the Mondo bongs and the Mondo rigs like that, you know, the foggers and stuff, because everything had to be under 6 inches long. I'm thinking, like, I wonder if somebody figured out how to modularize one of these things. So everybody brings in a piece that's only 6 inches long, and then you put it together when you get inside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think about that. A modular bong that you could snap together.
Damn.
Right.
Just me and about 10 other friends, you know, that now we've got the concert bong in. That's how I think, you know, that's stories I could tell you back in the day. Yeah.
You know, we've lost Jimmy. He didn't make it in.
Oh man, we lost the ball. Jimmy had the ball. What are we gonna do? Anybody got an apple? We'll make it work.
So we have one more. I think just one more here from the UK, where we. This is from MJ Biz Daily. I'm not sure if it's written by Matt Lammers. It's a possibility. So he writes over there. But it's. Well, I'll read it so you can know what it's all about. It says the United Kingdom's Home Affairs Committee is recommending to the government to widen access to unlicensed cannabis-based products for medical use via the National Health Service before the end of the current Parliament. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, everybody. The current Parliament don't give a fuck. The National Health Service in England's publicly funded healthcare system. The government has 2 months to respond to the committee's recommendations. There are currently no licensed cannabis-based products for medicinal use. This is this CBPM's word again, in the UK. And though unlicensed CBPMs may be prescribed, none have received marketing authorization. Epidiolex, the trade name for Europe for Epidiolex, and nabilone, I don't know, there's one of these other types of cannabis medicine. Nabilone and Sativex are considered licensed cannabis-based medicines, but not CBPMs. We are concerned that there is currently a lack of access on the NHS for patients with a genuine medical need. Access continues to be a problem, the committee's report noted. Earlier this year, the UK disclosed that fewer than 5 patients received unlicensed cannabis-based medicines from England's publicly funded healthcare system. However, excuse me, need to get a drink. I drank all my drink and it's boiling and I got no drink. I have to go get a new drink. Jesus. Where are we? Earlier this year, no. However, 89,239 unlicensed medical cannabis items were prescribed to patients through the private sector, meaning patients pay out of pocket between November 2018 and July 2022. And this is it with the medical thing in the UK. Now, as I've said before, we have the NHS here in England, so people don't pay a stupid amount of money for their medicines unless it's cannabis. Cannabis is the exception. Excuse me, just coughing again. Shit. What was I saying? Where was I? Sorry. Should have got more drink for next time. Where are we? Where were we? Sorry, anybody? Is anybody there? Okay, you still here.
In 2018,
It was so quiet, you know.
The dread dead air.
You know, where is everybody? Did it all crash out? In 2018, the UK rescheduled cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2, a move that allows specialist clinics to prescribe medical cannabis. The specialists can work in the NHS or privately. In its report, the Home Office Affairs Committee said it supports cannabis-based products for medical use where there is an evidence base. Excuse me, god damn it. Apologies, everybody. I'll get a drink in a second. I'll just get to the end of this. Where there is an evidence base that it can be an effective form of treatment for managing conditions or symptoms. The committee acknowledged evidence of the potential therapeutic value of medical cannabis in treating chronic pain. The committee's report recommended that the government support researchers to conduct randomized control trials into the effectiveness of CBPMs to treat chronic pain. If the evidence base supports this and it is deemed to be cost effective, we will recommend that the government enables the use of CBPMs for this purpose and works with clinicians to ensure that it is a treatment option in appropriate cases. So, there's a little more. The committee noted its concern about recreational cannabis. We are concerned by the harms that cannabis for non-medical users may pose, particularly in relation to young people, the committee said in the report. We do not believe that cannabis should be legalized and regulated for non-medical use. Separately, the same report, the committee welcomed the UK's government's committee to reducing barriers to research in psychedelic drugs. However, the committee recommended the UK government urgently moves psychedelic drugs to Schedule 2 in order to facilitate research on the medical or therapeutic values of these drugs. So, and the link to the full report is in the article over on MJ Biz Daily. So if you want to read more into that, then go and have a look. But interesting shit, man. It's maybe progress, you know. What do you think? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Kind of.
I don't like their reasoning on the recreational side.
Yeah,
It may pose a risk to young
Mhm.
children, so we're not going to legalize it.
When we've
I
seen
would say,
studies recently
again-
as well that say the opposite, that after all of the evidence that's been gathered up, it doesn't seem as if cannabis does cause psychosis.
We've seen a lot of that, but I've seen articles go both ways lately, and it seems to be the strategy. If your side is behind, just dig out some information and make it sound like facts, and there you go, throw it out. I don't really know which one who to believe these days. And that,
Well, not the
that
government,
respect.
not the government, never the government.
But I mean, again, here we are talking about material that might pose dangers to our youth. Yet we have tobacco and alcohol out there, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
man.
so ridiculous. People are smoking weed whether the government says you should or not. So why don't you just step aside?
That's it, innit?
Yeah.
It's like, do they really think they're stopping anything? You know?
No, and not any more than you're stopping young people from going out and getting wasted on the weekend on their parents' alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's
because they didn't
ridiculous,
lock it up properly.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Time for change, man. But whether that's going to happen in the UK is yet to be seen. I mean,
Hopefully in your lifetime, Mackie.
Sorry?
I said hopefully in your lifetime.
We'll see, but it doesn't really matter either way. You know, I'll continue to just do exactly what I do now. So fuck them. Fuck them. I've given up hope. There is no hope. This government's fucking farce, man. And I don't see any future government anywhere in the near future, anyway, legalizing cannabis. Hopefully, I'm wrong.
Are there any parties that are currently operating in the UK that have at least a softer look at cannabis, or are they all pretty hardline against it?
Yeah, not really, man. I mean, the two main ones, the Conservatives and the Labour Party, both of them have got no intentions of legalizing. And they're the two main ones that are going to win.
Right.
And then you've got the Greens and the Liberal Democrats, who maybe, I don't know what their stance is, but still, that wouldn't be enough to do anything. They're only going to legalize when it's good for them. That's the way it goes here in the UK. You know, why change anything when they're making a shitload through these private clinics now? And if they legalize it and open up the market, then it makes it harder for their friends to make money. They don't have to actually try.
The private clinics. I thought there was like so few people that can actually get access to the private clinics or whatever.
I think, did it say in here we're on about 18,000 people now?
Okay.
No, it didn't. The last time we reported on an article like this, it was on about 17,000 people who were legal cannabis users in the UK. But they all have to buy it through a private company. None of them are getting it through the NHS, which is the usual way of getting medicines here in the UK.
They're
So-
leaving. They could be leaving 1.5 billion on the table though, with 30,000 jobs.
Yeah, but that would be shared against more people. So the people funding them, they're not going to be making as much money. It's going to be more open to everybody else because the market got
Right.
open. But what they can control the monopoly doing it like this, and essentially make a fuckload more money. That's my opinion of it anyway. Whether that's what's actually going
Mhm.
on or not, maybe the government is there just trying to think for everybody's best interest and are just not properly educated on the matter. That might be what's going on, but I doubt it. They're just crooked motherfuckers.
Well, it's also a little bit about what some people paranoia or are worried about with the rescheduling possibility in the United States is that they could say, we'll move it to we'll move it Schedule 3, and that way it becomes a usable medicine for doctors, and we'll hire big pharma to go ahead and grow it for us and put everybody else out of business. And this is what people are worried about right now.
Yeah.
Right.
See, it's very rare to see the government of any country do anything for the benefits of the people in the country. It's always some kind of benefit for them or the people that fund them, the lobbyists, or their friends, which they'll
Right.
make money from either then or when they're out of office, they're going to do speeches for an hour for a ridiculous amount of money to a load of bankers. It's crooked as fuck, man.
It is.
That's the government for you. Yeah. It's a shame, but maybe it will change one day in the UK. I just think it's got to be a long. Some days I think it's next week. Surely it's next week, right? We've waited long enough now, surely. But then there's other times when I'm like, nah, it's got to be fucking 10 years, which it could be. It could be 10 years. Ridiculous to think that it could still be 10 years away. Seeing the whole world change, and we're just sitting here, with no fucking idea what to do. With a crashing economy, and just there's so many jobs that can be opened up. A whole fucking industry that can be opened up here in the UK. They'll make billions a year in tax revenue. Yeah, they just don't want to do it. Stupidness.
Well, I don't hold out hope for this US right now, unfortunately. But when it happens, I think it's going to be like it happened in other places, sudden and surprising. Like all of a sudden, it'll just be like, we're going to do this next week.
Right. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So either way, just continue to grow your own, everybody. Just do your thing. Don't worry about it. Whether they allow us to or not, still going to do it anyway. Yes. Fuck the police
I'll
coming
allow you
straight
to
from
do
the
it.
underground. So.
Go ahead, grow your
That's
own.
right.
Man.
We'll
Sit there
allow
with
you
me.
to do it. That's right.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
allow
right.
you to do
I'm
it.
with me, man.
That's right. Fucking crooked
Follow
ass
the 3
motherfuckers.
rules. You'll be fine. Just don't tell, don't smell, don't sell.
So, forum news. I mean, that's all the news articles. And of course, if you have any news articles you'd like us to cover on next week's show, then do let us know. Just get in touch with Facebook, Twitter, X, your email.
I can't get used to that.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? It's like, do you still tweet? Or do you X?
Or do you? I don't know.
What do you
I don't know.
No, you guess you're Y or something. I don't know what you do.
I've X'd him. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it was a good decision to do that. But anyway,
Nobody's talking about threads anymore either. I feel like when that came out, everyone was talking about it. And now, I don't know, I haven't heard a thing about it in a while.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for another social network to rise against the giants that we have now. Because they're just so popular and so well made,
Right.
That's the way it goes.
Well, he's calling it X, but the internet address is still twitter.com. So
yeah, I still talk on Twitter.
For now. That will change one day, I assume. But yes, the forum news here. We got some news for Dank Dixie.
Oh yes, good news.
Yes, yeah. He won because you want to explain this one, Monkey?
Yeah, this month we had a giveaway for an HLG 350R grow light, a great little grow light. And I decided that this month I wanted to run it for the people who write diaries over at Percy. See, diaries are very valuable to grow sites because that's how other users, new members come in. They read your grow diaries, they figure out what they're doing right, wrong, and it helps them correct their grows. So I was going to go ahead and reward diary writers. So we had a bunch of people sign up, and we were on round 3. and the card drawn was a 5 the last round. And so most everybody picked higher except one person. Thank Dixie picked lower. It was an ace. Thank Dixie pulled it out.
Nice.
There you go. There it is. Congratulations, Thank
Ooh,
Dixie. And I
congratulations. That's exciting.
understand he was in need of an upgrade too on a grow light. So this is perfect timing for him.
Nice. So yeah, and that reminds me as well, because I messaged HLG, you know, with the information to have it sent out and all that. And Emily from HLG is on maternity leave, so I assume that she had a baby. So congratulations to Emily and her family. It's from HLG.
Nice.
So it's very cool, man. And she probably won't hear this, but you know, we should say congratulations anyway. So that's cool news. What else do we have? We have the Patreon only this like we're giving away this month will go to patrons only. We like to alternate it in between everybody to the patrons only. Then sometimes just the admin team. You know what I'm saying, Monkey? Well, little heads or tails between Monkey and Mackie, you know.
I can't put a blackbird in my tent, man. That's no way.
Oh yeah, that's true. Looks like I win. Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
default.
Yeah, but the Patreon only comp this month is for the HLG Blackbird, and this is an epic grow light, man. This is perfect for a 4x4. It's a piece of art. I love the look of this light, the specs on it. So if you want to go see it, just head over to HLG and look for the Blackbird. You'll see it there in the list of lights they have, because it's a popular one. But it's beautiful. And if you're a Patreon, you can win one of those potentially. We have like 4 different levels of Patreon, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you're level 1, then you'll get 1 entry. If you're level 2, you get 2 entries. Level 4, you get 4 entries. So you won't just get 1 entry as well. You know, you'll be put on the wheel an extra amount of times essentially.
Right.
And then we'll spin it and you'll have more chances. So that's the plan anyway. Sounds good, right, Monkey?
It does good. Should be real good.
Yes.
Good.
What else do we have? Oh, we was on a couple of shows this week as well. Some of you guys might have been there to see it. Anyway, we was on Marco and Brian's show, or the Brian and Marco show, over on the FCP. That was on Wednesday. We just chat shit for a couple of hours because that's how we roll. We just like to talk about random stuff. And then we was on the Ask Me Anything session with Growcast on Saturday as well. And we just chatted some shit. We did answer a lot of grow questions over there, which is unusual for us. You know, I know we answer a lot of grow questions really, but we also like to go on tangents as well. But Jordan kept us on track there, and we answered a lot of grow questions, which was cool. It was a good session, man.
I think we had a few tangents in there too, though.
No, of course. Is there anything else to add? I feel like I'm missing something. What's that? We got to do a coin flip, not coin flip, a card flip, isn't it?
Card draw. I have a card draw to go today.
All right, but I think that's it. That's all the news, right?
Yeah, we can do the card draw now if it's news, and we'll get that going and move into a smoke break.
Sweet, let's do it then. Let's go do a smoke break and we'll do the draw. Let's do it.
All right.
Who's that? Great mask. What you got off being hot? Dying, Firefly. Fucking dying. It's like my eyeballs were sweating. It was that fucking hot in that mask. God damn it! I had to stay in character though. You know. It was good, man.
A melting Mackie, huh?
Had to be done. Next time we do a show like that, I think I'll get a different mask, and I'll like just keep changing the masks every time I go on these different shows. It's like, what's Mackie going to be wearing this week? Yeah. It probably won't be epically funny though. It'd just be, you know, it's going to be funny for 20 seconds, and then you got to sit there for 2 hours in this fucking mask dying. Jesus. Right, so what's this on?
Are you doing the car flip now?
I can.
Yeah, I think Mook's doing it.
Anytime you're ready. You ready for card flip, everybody?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so this is it. This is round 1. Higher, lower. First card pulled was a 3. We have several people in it. Now, this is also, we have a risk taker in this one.
Okay.
Go back to the list here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 people in. Of the 17 people in, 16 people picked higher, and one person,
Ooh.
Mitos, picked lower. So that's what we have to look out for here. If it's lower, the competition is over. If it's higher, Mitos is eliminated and everybody else moves forward. So here you go.
Well, the odds are in
Is
his favor. That's good.
You all ready? 1, 2, 3, flip. King, it's higher.
King.
All right.
Okay, so it's higher. So everybody goes in, but now everybody's going to pick lower, so we might as well go for the next one, right?
Yeah, because there is nothing really. I mean,
Mhm.
this is an easy round. So yeah, we'll go again then. So 1, 2, 3, go. 9. That's
There
a
we
good
go.
place.
Yeah, that's more interesting. Higher or lower,
More interesting
motherfuckers?
play. The
Mhm.
higher and lower, the next round will be 9. So yeah, I'll get the next thread up this evening, and we'll go again. Let's see, when do we want to go again?
We can do a short stream on Tuesday, right?
We'll do it on Tuesday then. It'll be a quick turnaround. So everybody needs to be aware. It's going up fast. Don't hesitate. Get your guesses in fast. And as soon as the show's over tonight, I'll get the thread up. There you go.
Nice. Right,
Moving
I'm going to go
on.
grab a drink. Is March there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm going to go grab a drink. Is that cool? Is everybody good?
Yeah,
I'm
just
good,
be
man.
fast. I gotta do the same.
Okay. We could just leave Monkey on his own to
No,
do an
I'll wait
acoustic
till you
solo
come back.
act. You know?
I'll wait till you come back.
Right, we're back in a second.
Marge is
Okay.
going to keep me company. See, that's what it
Yeah.
is. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's strange just having like 2 people on. I guess you guys are used to it a little bit.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
pretty much. We do interviews with 2 all the time. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Going one's a little hard because you're actually sometimes talking to yourself. You know, it's one of those things. If you don't have a script, you run into some dead ends sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I'm a little more familiar with that. I
Yeah,
don't
I
do
bet.
that's one reason why I don't do it live, because holy, if you knew how many times I fucked up and had to start again.
Oh no, I fully understand. I've done some of that work before.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sometimes
yeah.
just trying to record the intro and it's like really 20-second time? Come on. Get your shit.
22 is that's serious.
Okay, well maybe it's not that bad, but some days it feels like a lot.
I do. I understand that. And
Yeah.
as always, it seems like, yeah, when you do it yourself, you can always find a flaw somewhere, but you have to learn how to live with those flaws sometimes because they're so small, nobody else knows them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One of those deals, if you act like it's normal and you act like it's right, the audience usually thinks everything was supposed to be that way in the first place. I mean,
I've seen that happen, like, when you hear somebody maybe at recitals or something,
mhm.
and they're like, "Oh, I messed up in this one part," and you're like,
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear anything. It was like sounded great to me, and they're like, "Oh, that's all I could think about," and you're like, "You did great."
I've
So
seen live concerts where the guitar player pops string or 2 strings sometimes and it continues playing the entire song without stopping.
right,
Like,
that's
do the best you can.
professionalism.
Yeah, do whatever you can to keep going. You see the string just there it goes. It's flying loose, and he's just like, "Nope, I'm in the middle of a show."
Right.
That's a
Yeah,
pro.
that is definitely a pro. I'm not sure I'm that professional, or maybe I'd record live. Maybe I
Mm.
should get outside of my comfort zone.
Ooh, that one hit me.
What's that?
The vape bag is strong. Ooh,
Oh.
whoa.
I got Shoddy Fusion in the chat saying, "Thanks, Marge, for the decarboxylation." I'm not sure what that means, but you're welcome.
Yeah, I need to.
I'm
I'm
back.
actually finally realizing that I'm going to have to move on from the level. I've tucked it out for so long, but it's so hard to do what I want to do with it. I need to move on, but
Because it's not potent enough.
well, it's maxed out the way I do it, but it's just I don't know, just
Right.
the whole pod. I want to make a very strong oil. So 8 grams is not enough, which means I need to do multiple decarbs before I can run a cycle. So that slows me down right there. And then because I'm doing it that way, and I have more than 8 grams in my infusion, it means that I can't use the pods to run the infusion, which means I can't use the stirrer, which means I have to open it up periodically and manually stir it. So yeah, I'm making do with the product, and I'm getting a usable result out of it. But there's got to be a better way out there. That's what I keep
So
thinking.
you're already using 2 pods in it.
Yeah, but it actually, I want a strong oil because I'm trying to cut down the amount of fat that I consume as far as, the medicine goes. If I can get stronger oil, I can use less fat.
Right.
And so I'm using extremely strong infusion. And if I was going to try to do it that way, it would take 4 pods to make the oil strong enough.
Yeah, I do like the Levo. I like there's a lot of things I like about it, but sometimes if you're looking to make something super potent, it's probably not
Yes.
the best choice.
Right.
And sometimes that's when maybe the magical butter is a good one. Just because it has such a huge capacity, you can put a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah, but it doesn't decarb, and that's the issue.
No,
The
no,
missus does. I'm not allowed to decarb in the oven. It stinks the house up.
oh God, yeah. I know. I haven't decarbed since I have an Ardent, and I haven't decarbed since I got that thing because it doesn't smell.
Yeah. Now I was thinking about the Ardent, but the hard part I have about this is when you have any device, Levo, Ardent, I don't care, when it's made for cannabis, it seems like the price doubles or triples.
Right.
It's like I can go and buy an Instant Pot, which is a bigger, more complicated machine than the Ardent, and I'll pay less than 100 US, probably 50 to $75 US. I can get an Instant Pot, no problem, easy.
Right.
But the Ardent's going to be 350. It's like, what?
Right.
It's smaller. It doesn't do as much. It doesn't take as much to make it, but because it's got to do with cannabis, it's more expensive.
Now
And there's
they do claim that it activates more of when it's decarbing, it'll activate more of your cannabis than if you do it in the oven. But
Right.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Have you considered like a sous vide instead? I mean, it takes longer, but that's another option too.
I've done it before in sous vide, but I don't have a machine that does it automatically. I've just, using various slow cookers and vacuum bags and thermometers and that kind of stuff. It worked. It made a good infusion, but it was labor intensive.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, I find they all have pros and cons. It's tricky because they all have pros and cons.
You gotta go get your drink, Marge.
Yes, I will. I'll be right back.
Cool. Yeah, trying to make some of those backlovers.
Baklava?
Backlavas.
Okay.
Those things.
Yeah.
God damn.
They're tasty.
Yeah, I shouldn't have fucking made them, man.
You ate them all?
All that butter, all that sugar, and that crispy pastry. Oh, God damn.
And the nuts and everything else that goes with it.
It's just too fucking good, man. And I keep eating some, and then I'll be like, I can't eat any more than that now. That's way too. And then I made another batch, so I've made 2 batches. It's like, oh God.
What your kids think of it?
It's okay, because Dad made it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's more for me.
Oh, you mean if Mom made it, would be good?
Oh yeah, and it would actually be.
Are you that bad of a cook, man?
Well, no, it's not that bad. I'm not great at it, but I could be if I wanted to. But I'm just with 2 batteries. I think it still needs to go for a little bit longer in the oven when I'm making it. Yeah, but just to try and get all of it to fluff out. And the first batch I made, I didn't cut. Because you're supposed to cut it before you put it in the oven. And I didn't fucking do that. I completely forgot about that. So then I had to make the second batch, and I cut it that time, but it wasn't well cut. But just trial and error, get it all down after a few attempts, and then just that shit's just too delicious, man. Damn.
I've never made it. I've eaten it before. I've never made it though. It's usually in we find it here a lot in any Middle Eastern type restaurants. Will usually have it. Greek, Lebanese, those kind of.
Yeah, some good shit, man. It's just a bit too good. Can't leave it alone. Like, he just went downstairs and had another fucking piece. It's like, oh gosh, this is too good. I can't just eat more of this buttery, sugary goodness.
You can. That's the problem. You'll pay for it later, though.
Yeah, it's like I could really just catch diabetes off that. There's so much fucking sugar in it, man. Damn.
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of high sugar.
Same, man, same. But that baklava shit, that's some good shit, bro. Is it because I remember having it with Mrs. Monkey, Cannabis, and she was like, "Oh look, there's this stuff. Let's have some of that." I'm like, "What is it?" She's like, "Try it." I'm like, "This is some good shit." Yeah, then I had to make some.
She usually buys it if she sees it.
Mm-mm. Does everybody know what we mean? Yeah, 420 is coming soon. Is it 420 for Super Cropper already?
Nah, it's 2 minutes to 4:20.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes or something. I'm just gonna stop saying because mine's never correct.
It's 4:18 according to mine right now.
Yeah, it's 420 compared to mine right now. But you know, mine's a minute off, so a minute to go. What else do we have?
So that,
Yes.
that's weird. What card did we draw, Mackie? 9, number 9,
Number 9.
number 9.
What's the significance of that right now?
That's trying to write the card down. It's like number 9.
Number
It's like
9.
the Beatles thing, wasn't
Number
it?
9. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, was it the White Album?
I don't remember what album it was on. It hit me, one of those flashbacks.
Mhm,
Number
mhm.
9.
Number 9. Number 9. Yeah,
Obscure
man,
music.
it's been like 60 years since the Beatles first came out now.
Yeah. That was
60
wild
fucking years.
during the Tommy interview, him talking about smoking with the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
That's so weird.
Oh,
John
like-
Lennon saying he couldn't because he was going through immigration thing because he was from like between 75 and 1980
Mhm.
when he was assassinated. He was always in trouble for standing against the Vietnam War, wasn't it? That's what it was. So
Probably, yeah, because the whole war on drugs was a Vietnam War thing. Actually, they put the war on drugs to try and get the people to fall in line.
yeah, so he just stayed at the radar for like 5 years.
How does Steve D'Angelo say? Nobody who ever tripped would go over there and kill another human being.
Mm. Yeah, that the guy who assassinated him was a fucking madman for real. He thought that John Lennon was an imposter and he was the real John Lennon.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
I never heard
Nutcase.
that.
Nutcase.
I never heard that explanation.
Yeah, man. He was one of the assassins that had Catcher in the Rye in their pocket as well. Like the guy who tried to assassinate. Who was it? Maybe it was one of the Kennedy brothers. I'm thinking it was Reagan, maybe. Reagan, there was an assassination attempt against Reagan, right?
Yeah, he was shot.
Right. Yeah, that guy had what was it? A Soldier of the Rye. What the fucking book? What book
You
is
said
it?
Catcher in the Rye earlier.
Catcher in the Rye. Catcher in the Rye. That's the one. Yeah, I lost it. It was in there, but he had that book on him as well. And they say that they were all sleeper agents that read this book and was awakened by the CIA to go on these missions.
The Manchurian Candidate. That was the trigger.
Fucking dog just came in here. Excuse me while I get rid of this dog.
You love the dogs.
Yeah, it's too hot for humans in this room right now. Never mind dogs.
Yeah, bring the dog in with a little extra heat.
You know what I'm saying?
all right. No problem.
Yeah, well, he'll be there in like 2 minutes, scratching the door, being like, "Let me out, bro. Let me out, bro. I can't breathe." You know? You know how they roll. And just preemptive striking him. Like, get the fuck out before you ask me to get out. Shit. Yeah, anyway.
Moving now.
Yeah, he's gone. He'll be back in 5 minutes. You're like, I saw you pick up some of that baklava stuff. Yeah, we're making baklava, Marge. You know that shit? I always say it wrong, so...
Baklava.
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 That's how I say it. I don't know.
And I say it like baklava, you know, like lava down somebody's back.
The floor is
Yeah.
lava.
Yeah. Baklava.
That shit's good, no matter how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Infused honey, man. Would that be good, huh?
Oh,
But then my
I
dogs
would-
are sitting there and they're just like, can I have a piece of that shit, bro? It's like
The
you
dog
fucking
want it?
dogs, man. Yeah, you're not even supposed to like sweet stuff, little bastards.
they know
Okay.
good shit when they see it.
Yeah, I gave them a couple of slices of the pastry. You know, with, man, they fucking love that shit. You could just tell by the look on their faces, like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. But they can't give them too much, man. That's far too much sugar for a dog. It's far too much sugar for a person. Shit. But yeah, delicious. Do you have a recipe for baklava? I'm never
I
gonna
don't.
say it right.
I've never made it myself.
All right, okay. Reasonably easy.
Hey,
You could,
episode ideas, infused
yeah.
baklava.
your baklava,
Yeah.
baklava. Right. You're never gonna say it correctly.
I
Next
don't
time you
really
got
know
to
if I'm
say it.
saying it correctly. That's how I was told to say it long ago, and it's one of those things that's so in my brain that would be hard for me to change.
Yeah, I'm gonna start just calling it baklava then. And then if
That's
anybody
fine.
corrects me, I'll be just like, no, I'm using the proper pronunciation.
You do it your way,
Baklava.
man.
Yeah, but baklava. But yeah, good shit, man. Good shit. I recommend everybody
You-
checks out a recipe and tries it if they haven't done it before.
We'll get Bubble Hawk to make a pan of it his way. Fuck around and find out.
Damn, yeah. It's got a half ounce into the butter. Damn.
Exactly. Half
Right.
ounce. He put a whole ounce in his edibles, man.
Mm-hmm. Baklava ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Makes
Yeah, I'm just-
Fico out of the whole ounce and then dumps the whole batch of Fico into one batch of edibles. So yeah,
Damn.
that's his
That'd be
fuck
good.
around and find out edibles.
That's right.
You know,
Let's see what happens if I ingest like 1,500 milligrams of cannabis.
You don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, because you could just eat more and more of it, but you can only have one piece.
really.
Then you can
Right.
only have one, but you can only just one more piece, right? So imagine the internal struggle of an edible version of baklava.
But
Like,
that's
one more
what you
piece.
do.
No, yes, no, 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 yes, no, 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 yes. Oh man.
That's when you follow the advice of your edibles expert here on the panel and make 2 batches, right, Marge?
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that would be smart. Although usually
Mm.
I just make the one batch because it helps me control my sweet tooth.
Yeah, there's
Because I
a
am
reason why you can't have a second one,
Yeah, pretty much.
Mhm.
I have a really bad sweet tooth. So if it's infused, you have to be reasonable.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's trouble.
Otherwise, you end up like that person on Margie's holiday there.
Yeah. I've done that before too. Been like
What?
just eating too many cookies and then got way too high. Even though I knew better, I'm like, oh, they're so good. They're still warm out of the oven.
Oh, that is a bit tempting though, isn't it? And it's still
Yeah,
warm.
it was at
It's
the
soft
time.
in the
because I was
middle.
way too high.
Mm-mm-mm.
And I'm
Mm-mm-mm.
not and regretting my choices.
Damn.
Reading Silas up in the chat, he says he's made weed baklava many times. I'm thinking like, next time I have friends over, that might be something worth trying.
Mm-mm-mm.
Something different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Baklava with infused honey, just eat one piece. That's all, just one.
Yeah, man, get out on it, everybody. That's your homework for this week, everybody.
Who
That's
can
it.
make the best baklava infused baklava?
That's right. Maybe that's what we're gonna do for a competition coming up. Who can make the best? See your
Here for it.
pictures. Yeah, let's see your baklavas, and you have to send me a piece, everybody.
All his baklava, all his sticky mail showing up at Mackey's place.
You showed me not my safe address and shit. Like, what the fuck is all this?
Look, you got a bunch of mails over here, and it's attracting ants. Come get it quick.
Nice. Oh god, it's so good. Yeah, John Finnegan says baklava. It's like baklava, B-A-K lava, but as one word, L-A-V-A.
Yeah.
Baklava, and it's like thin sheet pastry with butter and syrup, and all fluffy and delicious and shit. It's like it tastes like Frosties, but like still soggy wet with syrup kind of Frosties. It's some good shit. You gotta try it. Yeah, man. I went to the shop and bought ingredients specifically for it, and then I went to make a second batch and got halfway through. It's like, I've not got enough fucking pastry, so then I had to go to the shop and get more pastry again because they ain't making that thin ass pastry shit.
Phyllo dough, yeah.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
I don't think too many people make that. You buy that.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you can. It's probably amazing, but adds a little bit to the time.
I'm glad everybody agrees.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit, man.
I mean, when you asked me about what that stuff was, I was like, I was racking my brain thinking like, what sweet pastry with syrup in it did we eat? What the hell is he talking about? I couldn't remember. And then finally we're sitting there, okay, we went and had coffee that morning. What did we have to eat? I have to go back through my brain, and boy, that's hard to do, on top of a whole Cannabis weekend. A lot of cannabis affected that memory. a lot of cannabis.
I bet.
And the legendary ball sack weed.
That memory's always going to be there.
That was awesome.
Jorge finally turned. Oh, Mackie! He turns around and that hand whoosh, down he goes. I got something for you.
Good times, good times. Is I think it's time we move on to the grow guides now. I think it's going to be a nice discussion about how to learn from your grows, man. And this is something we can all get involved in because we've all made mistakes as we've grown. You know, it's gonna be fun. Let's do it. Are we all ready? Do we all have our drinks and baklavas?
Oh, I'm missing
some
my.
of us have had baklava.
Give me a couple hours and I'll have my baklava.
Yeah, right. Be right back.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Okay, everybody back in 2 hours with baklava.
Mackie, you can hold it down while I go make baklava, right? You can do it.
Yeah, I'll just wing it. I'll just tell jokes, loads of jokes.
Oh Lord, there goes the audience.
I was gonna say, yeah, there goes the show. And then you're wondering, why was there such a downspread to downloads?
Damn, my jokes are epic sometimes.
Sometimes. I love it. Sometimes.
Anyway, let's do the grow guides. So there is an old saying that you probably know that goes like, you can always learn from your mistakes, but the best thing to do is learn from other people's mistakes, like our mistakes. And we've made lots of mistakes before in the past, and I'm sure everybody listening to the show also has made many mistakes with their grow as well. And we're going to be discussing today about how to analyze those mistakes, how to pick out things that you could have done better throughout the grow, what could have been done easier so it wasn't so much of a chore, just how to pick certain things out of the grow so the next one is going to be better, both easier to do the next grow and you get a better product at the end of it as well. Yeah. So I thought we could start this off by talking about just mistakes we have all made, you know, us guys on the panel, things that we have made, the mistakes we've made on our grow throughout the time we've been growing. And I remember one of mine specifically is I moved house. So my grow wasn't up for a while. And then when I put it back up, my timer was broken. And I was like, it's cool. I don't need to get a timer. I'll be here every day at 9 and 3. And I can flick the fucking light myself. So, you know, and I did that for a good few months, man. Kept a decent record of what was going on, you know, with the lights and shit. But it's like there was a couple of days where I didn't make it home in time and didn't get the light on in time and all this. So there was a irregular light cycle towards the end. And that crop hermied on me, you know. Understandably so, because it didn't have that regular light cycle. But I thought I could get away with it, and you know, I made the stupid mistake of not getting a timer. It's like 15 quid and easy to get. Should have just got a fucking timer. But it's just one of these stupid mistakes I made in the early days, you know. So then I got a timer, and everything was fixed after that. But that's one of the mistakes that stands out for me. One of the stupid mistakes I've made throughout my time of growing. But do you have much? Can you think of any?
Oh, my whole last grow.
Okay.
Maybe
that-
I was.
That was the cocoa grow, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That whole thing was just. I was trying to figure out cocoa because I've never done it before, and I did get some guidance from some people and everything, but I was just having a hard time figuring out the nutrients, and probably should have been keeping a little bit better records too. But, yeah, it didn't go great. Let's
Yeah,
just
when
say
you
that.
get used to cocoa, it's so fucking easy, man.
That's what everybody tells me.
Yeah, but you
I
know,
don't
but that's it. You have to get used to it. If you're a grower who started off in cocoa, you'd love it because that's how you learned how to do it. But you started
Right.
you started in DWC, didn't you? And for a while you've been
Yeah.
growing in soil.
Yeah.
So after different experience and different grow methods like that, cocoa can seem a little bit more complex, especially more than a soil grow, especially living
Yeah.
soil where you're just watering it. You know, and it's just a learning
Right.
curve. But once you get around
Right.
it, it's just growing by numbers, man. Follow the numbers and everything will be fucking sweet.
And I'm almost embarrassed to admit another mistake that I made was I was doing a soil grow and I was just like, this doesn't seem to be going so hot. And then someone's just like, do you pH the water? I was like, well, no. They're like, maybe you should try that. And that seemed to help a lot. So
Yeah, yeah. And we
yeah.
do have a question about that in the listener mail later on as well about pHing. But it's one of those, man. Yeah. We can answer the question later on. We'll get back to that. But it's a good question. It's a common mistake people do make is by not balancing the pH of their water because they're growing in soil. But what about you, Monkey? What about mistakes you've made?
Jeez, how many you want, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first one I made was as crazy as this sounds, the first thing I did was try to go on the internet by myself to various different places and find all the information I needed. And the problem I ended up with is I got fractured information that, oh, this looks good. Oh, this looks good. I put everything together and ended up with a lot of bad answers. So I was a cocoa grower growing in cocoa that had never been buffered. Yeah, there you go. Trying to match pH using the litmus paper. No good on that either. So
Yeah.
yeah, I made all the mistakes you can imagine. Feeding at recommended manufacturers' recommended rates on the label, not good. You know, not having an EC meter, just winging it. There you go again. You know, so yeah, basically my first grow was a complete everything wrong, everything. But
Right.
but I reached harvest.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I've tried doing the pH too, back to the pH thing with the litmus paper as well. And
Yeah.
it's just not nearly accurate enough. You're like,
No.
well, you're trying to compare the color to the thing on the jar, and you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's it's
Yeah,
an
my
exercise
daughter.
in utility.
It is. My daughter is a chemist, and she explained it to me later after I had failed at it, that you can actually buy papers that have a very narrow range on it. Like you can get a paper that's from 5.5 to 6.0 kind of thing. But
Oh, really?
yeah, you can get, but they're much more expensive, much more specialized kind of stuff like that. But the
Right.
easiest answer is just buy a meter because you're going to need it anyway. But
Yeah, at that point, if you're getting
I'm
into specialized pH paper.
the typical starting grower here that's trying to, oh, I'll go on the cheap side here because I can do it. I know what they don't know kind of attitude. So this led me into making every mistake every beginner makes. You know.
Man, there's so many. I mean, I've thought of a couple there where you was saying all your stuff, and now I've completely forgotten
Yeah.
because I'm high.
Well, I mean,
You know?
I've bumped the timer in mid grow, and I ended up having lights come on in the middle of the dark cycle because I accidentally tapped the timer and hit the buttons the wrong way. I've done that.
Breaking branches. That when you're bending them over too far when you're training, one of them snaps. That's a mistake that's made quite often. But it's just something you get used to. But,
I've let them go on I've literally let them go too long and let the whole plant mold before. I'm just going to let it go another week, just one more week, and finally, after sooner or later, you got to cut them.
Yeah, man, that's a good one. But these mistakes do happen, man, and some far less extreme as that. Not all killing your growing things, just minor mistakes that you've made, and we've discussed it on the show previously, where it's like you can do these things that will add about 10% to the quality of your cannabis, and that's what you're looking for when you're looking for these potential mistakes that you could have made. It's not just something that was clearly you left the light off for too long or something like that. Just are you watering a little too much or not enough? Is the EC too strong? Things like this, which you want to try and look back on after the grow and figure out what could you have done better to make the end of this, a better yield on it, a better quality on it, and how can you make the grow easier? This is what you want to be looking for. So if everybody can think back to their last grow, you can always think of something that could have gone easier and could have made things better at the end.
Well, I learned a lot on my first two grows by dissecting the root ball after I had chopped.
Right.
I found out that I didn't, in both cases there, neither one of my root balls had completely filled up the pot. The roots were toward the center of the mass, and they never did spread. So that just told me I wasn't doing something right. So figure this one out. What do you need to do?
Yeah, man. What about you, Marge? What kind of what kind of things can you remember about specific grows that you've had problems with?
I do remember one time when we were doing the hydroponics, somehow I missed it that the hoses going into the reservoir that would water the plants had somehow become disconnected.
Oh,
And I didn't
right.
know this. And then I came back and they're like so droopy. It's just like,
Mhm.
oh, I was worried I might have like fucked them up, but luckily cannabis plants are pretty resilient.
Mhm.
But it led me to remember that I need to check that. Like if you're doing that kind of grow, that you need to check on the hoses and stuff to make sure
Mhm.
that there's no issues with them, so that when they're supposed to come on the timer for the watering, that they actually do water as they should.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely good advice. That is double check everything, man, just to make
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one because it's easy to make these mistakes, man. But it's easy to fix most of them as well. Like, there's another common mistake that people make as well is the whole drying too quickly, or
Yeah,
putting them in jars before the weeds properly dry and shit. So that's one I've made before. I've made that mistake a few times. So have to be
I
careful
did
with that
that.
one.
I had a what I would consider a prize bud, bud that weighed like 40 grams, just one
Mhm.
solid bud. And I wanted to save it just for impress somebody with. Put the whole thing in the jar, was being very careful with it. One morning I looked at it, the whole thing was white. I was like, why the hell did I do that? That's a rookie mistake. You should never do
Right.
something like that. That was so stupid. Those are kind of mistakes you want to kick yourself in the head, go like, no, I'm never doing that again.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah,
That's it.
thinking you're smarter than the rest of everybody else that already been through this. It just doesn't work.
Mm.
Also, in the chat, Chilbert and Overgrow Australia are talking about labeling, and these are, I think, a couple of different things, but I feel like um you think you're gonna remember, like if you don't label what something is, you think you're gonna remember, and you absolutely do not. At least I never do.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
So making the
Yeah.
mistake of
Yeah.
not
I'll
taking
remember which one.
which was which, and then you come back and you're like, fuck, which
Right.
one is it?
I
I
did
had
it
that
this
happen
time, man.
once.
Yeah, I've done it this time. It's I've not labeled, but I know which one's which. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one which I've experienced many times. Not just, it's like you're supposed to learn from your mistakes, but that one has caught me out a few times. The worst one is where you're transplanting from the smaller parts into the bigger parts, and then you've done like three or four, and you haven't realized that you haven't moved the tags with them. You're like, oh fuck,
Right.
you know.
I've
That's
definitely done something like that before, and then you're like, well, for fuck's sake, I
hmm
don't know what anything is, and yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I do a lot of repot, and I don't start in the same. I don't start and finish in the same pot. So yes, when I repot, it's if I have that plant tag
Hmm.
tucked in between the pot and the soil. When I pull the other one out, the tag falls out. And you go to repot it. You come back later on. You got all the tags laying on the ground, and all the plants are in the tent, going like, oh no. And you're
It's
right. And
like,
at that point, you got to let them grow a little while and see which ones look the same. You know what I mean? You got to go that route.
yeah.
Figure
I
out, well, okay,
I just
that's
have
one of
it.
those.
It's just pretty drilled into me now. But when you've finished, you lay over the part, it's all nice and smooth at the top, label it, and then move on to
Yeah.
the next one. It's like that's just part of the process now. Fucking, I've been
Mhm.
tricked too many times by that one.
And
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. A fool man can't get fooled again.
same similar problem with seeds. When you're harvesting seeds, it's real easy to have a pile of seeds on the table, and if you're working with something else, all of a sudden you don't realize, okay, which ones are these? Oh my gosh. So
Hmm.
yeah,
So
keep track
yeah,
of what you're doing.
a little thought exercise there for the listeners. What you have to do is you have to try and think about your most previous grow, or even one that you've had in the past where you've made, you've cut corners. Maybe you might have made just small errors here and there, or maybe you fucked up really
Mhm.
bad and let the hydro dry out, so the roots dried up. You left the lights on for 24 hours, or it stretched like crazy because you trimmed at the wrong time. There's so many things that you can think of throughout the
Well,
grow. Why didn't it? Could it have gone smoother? And if so, how?
tending my grow when I was too high is the easy way to put for a lot of the problems I had
Mm-hmm.
experienced.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, watering plants and overwatering and overrunning drip trays or things like that. And you never had to happen in the first
Mm-hmm.
place. If
Mhm.
you would have just been a little more aware. So I don't tend my plants quite as loaded as I used to anymore. I don't toke up till after the jobs are done.
Right. That's good advice right there too.
Hmm.
That's a lot of us have done that before, getting a little bit too high and feel like, I don't really remember what I did yesterday with this plant, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, wouldn't you? I mean, sometimes you will get a grow that goes pretty well. It's not, you know, you're not going to make major mistakes in it. So then you want to be looking for different ways that you can improve the grow anyway. You know, it was all good, everything was nice and smooth, but what can you do to your grow room, for example, to try and make the whole grow process smoother? Some automated watering, maybe, uh, different nutrient schedule, different light schedule, a tent on the side for drying. You know, just
Well, if
different things you can do to your setup.
if you're talking about, you know, taking a look at what didn't work, be very, very careful with your automated watering systems, because I know
Mm,
I've done it. I know other people on the site have done it where you're not paying attention to AM, PMs, or you're not watching very carefully for if this switched on and didn't switch off. It's pretty easy to make a mistake sometimes with an auto
mhm,
watering system and have the whole reservoir get pumped into your grow. So,
mhm.
Right.
yeah, be super careful about that. My answer to that is my catch tray is bigger than my reservoir. So
Yeah.
if that happens, it all ends up in the trash.
Mhm, mhm,
Right. Yeah, that just goes back to checking your equipment again on a pretty regular basis. Like when I,
mhm.
didn't check the hoses and then my stuff actually didn't get watered properly.
Yeah.
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 And
When
that's
you're,
it.
especially if you're using the automatic stuff, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to the equipment like that, keeping things as simple as possible is always easier. And if you're watering it by hand, you know it's getting watered, and you know how much. You know it's not going to
Mhm.
leak and all that shit. But then you're going to have to lug heavy water around every time you're fucking feeding. That's a pain in the ass. And then you know soaking up runoff. That's something else you have to consider. You know, all of these things that need to be taken into consideration. Like when you're trying to make the grow easier. Like when I used to grow cocoa, getting the runoff was a pain in the ass. So then I'll raise the trays up by I don't know about a foot, and then you can siphon the water off into a little into a jug or something to collect the
Mhm.
runoff. Man, makes it much easier doing it like that than it being on the floor. So, you know, that's one of the mistakes I made in the past, and then learn from, and then adjust to make it easier for every round. So
Yeah.
that's just one of the examples. I mean, there's loads, isn't there? There's loads of things you can do to make you grow better each time. Can you remember anything that you've implemented specifically to make you grow better and it worked out?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Actually, when I mix nutrients down in cocoa, I actually have a very set order that they go in. And I
Mm,
always touch those bottles in exactly the same order every
mm,
time. And that prevents me from double dosing or skipping something, which I
mm-hmm,
did have a problem with early on.
mm-hmm. What about
So
you,
yeah,
Marge?
just this procedure is what I've instituted.
Probably. I mean, I'm doing pretty small grows now, so just
Mm-hmm,
timers, I guess. I'm trying to be more consistent. Like when I'm hand watering, this was my cocoa with the soil grow.
mm-hmm.
Probably helped.
Yeah, man.
Just
Well,
keeping things simple really does
yeah, it really does make
help a
a
lot.
big
Yeah.
difference, man. If you have the time to, then you know, keep it fucking simple. Do it yourself. Don't
Hmm.
stop trusting these machines.
Right.
You know, and if
I
you
mean,
keep
they
a grow
can help.
diary, sorry,
Yeah.
Marge.
No, and the grow diary helps too because it helps
Mm-hmm,
you sort of document what your process, and then you can look back and be like, maybe I need to switch look at what you need to switch up
mm-hmm.
to simplify or
You know, like,
Yeah.
could you have fed the plant less next time round if you're doing it again?
Mhm.
You know, like,
Yeah.
you think it was a little bit overfed. What would it have turned out if you didn't feed it the way that you did? Maybe lighten up the dose for the next time round. You know,
Yeah, my
and
first couple of grows, I wasn't real good about keeping records, though. I mean, I would just
hmm
mix up nutrients and expect myself to remember what I did last time.
hmm
Right. And you never do. You never do.
No, well, put it this way,
I
even if you
don't.
do that 9 times out of 10, you're going to make a mistake sometime.
Yep.
And plants thrive on consistency, so that definitely affected my yields, my growth, my plant health, everything.
mm.
Twisted in the chat says, don't keep a bucket of bleach water
Uh,
next to your feed water.
Yeah, I
That's
saw
right.
that. I'm going. I started to ask him a question about that, but I'm thinking, like, no, that's
Right.
probably a bit longer story there.
Yeah, I think it did happen. He did feed. Was it him or his missus fed the plants bleach water? Well, I think it was okay. You know.
Yeah, actually, I've had my mother did that by accident. She was actually watering her African violets with water with bleach in it, and it didn't kill them.
Amazing.
They're
That
hardy
seems
as fuck.
to be-
These plants are. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, nature's harder than we give it credit for.
So this is one thing you want to do when you're looking for your mistakes as well is you want to change one thing at a time. Say if you think that you could have done better with a new item, more extraction, or a dehumidifier, and don't change all three at the same time unless they're a massive problem. Then change them. But if everything's running nice and you want to wonder which things you can improve, then just add one thing at a time so you can see the results of one thing rather than numerous, and then you'll know for sure if it's making a difference or not. It's easy to update more than one thing, and then you don't know what especially when it comes to nutrients. You know, when you add in more than one new type of nutrients, then you're not sure which ones are going to be working best or not, right?
Yeah, that's a really good
Mhm.
point. Because if you change too many things at once, you're like, well, what was the thing that worked and what wasn't?
Mm-hmm.
What was the thing that I didn't need to do or didn't
Yeah,
need to change?
Mm-hmm.
that's it, man. Just add one thing at a time and give it some time and see what happens, and then
Yeah,
experiment on the next one.
fix the obvious one first.
Hmm.
It's an important thing, you know, because you want to be able to do the whole trial and error. You know, which thing is doing a good thing and which thing is taking the piss. You know, or what's working and what's just wasting energy. Because you want to try and be efficient with your indoor grow as well.
And the thing you do after the grow, the big mistake you never want to make is when you have a friend over, don't bring the whole jar of weed out because they won't leave until the damn jar is empty.
That's a different kind of problem.
That is a different kind of
Mhm,
problem.
mhm.
It was a big problem for me once, though, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. So it's just it's important again to just note down any mistakes that you think that you've made and how would you improve. You know, how would you not make them again in the future grows. So and every grow room is different. You know, there's going to be different bits of equipment, different insulation because of the way the room's laid out. You know, the airflow, the extraction. There's so many different parts to a grow system that it's hard to choose specific things that we would say, you know, fix this, fix this, fix this, because you might already have them covered. But you know, if you have any questions and you want to ask for some help over at the forum, is anything here a mistake? What could I be doing better? Shit like that. You know, put a post up on the forum and people will take a look at the setup that you have and recommend
Yeah.
new things if they think that it's necessary.
Better yet, run a diary and we'll watch you
Mm-hmm.
grow as you go along. And if you ask for recommendations, you will get them.
Mm-hmm. And you know, don't be afraid to make mistakes as well, because this is how you learn as well. You know, you can learn from some of the mistakes that we've mentioned here, but
Yeah.
you know, you can learn from your own as well. Just try not to make too many. That's the thing.
And that's
And might I add, don't be afraid to make mistakes because you will make mistakes.
what, yeah.
If you're
Yes.
new to it,
That's
One
or
right.
even
good
if you're
thing
not new to
about
it.
one good thing about Percy's is we're not going to gig you for your mistakes. We've all made them.
Right.
We'll have a little sympathy for you, but you're not going to get razzed about it. Things happen, man.
Well, nobody ever wants a sick cannabis plant. They haven't done it on
No,
purpose.
nobody
No.
wants to fail on purpose.
That's right,
No.
man.
Firetop says trial and error has been his entire grow experience, and I'm like, same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
fun though, right? It's been fun.
Sure.
You
Mhm.
know,
A lot of
have
fun.
good times. Have good times doing
Yeah.
this shit.
It's
Yeah.
really, I don't know where you can go to take a course on how to do home grow. That just trial and error is the only way to do it, unless you got a
Mhm.
friend.
You know,
Even then, you're probably gonna, think shit happens, right?
what
Oh, yeah,
about
if you're like me, I'm gonna say I know better than him. I watch. I'm gonna show him how to grow it, and then I'll fail.
Right. Right.
So what about the perfect setup? You know, you know how I say you look at your setup and think about where you can change things to make it better and more efficient.
Oh, I saw that in your notes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect grow. What to do next?
Yeah.
Get out a package and send your samples to Marge at PO Box now.
Wait.
As a suggestion, but
Mhm. Yeah. So what would your favorite setup be, Marjorie? You know, if you could have the perfect setup.
honestly, I would still like to master the cocoa grow because I really want to do these like beer can mug micro grows, like I see monkey postings, like seriously, that is sort of like what I want to do.
Okay.
So I would still like to master that, but I have such a small setup. I need to like figure out a way to make it easier because I found it kind of labor intensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I would still like that. I do like the soil
Sure.
growing still too, but yeah, I'm
No.
still I'm still envious of monkeys micro grows.
I'm sure we can get you up to speed on that. It's really
Yeah.
not difficult, but I've got a handful of them going right now in my tent, and it's super easy.
Right. They
I
look
mean,
so perfect. Speaking of perfect grows.
just a good it's photography, you know. It's
Right.
all about photography.
Right. Well, still, I'm impressed. So
Thank you.
yeah.
You see, with my setup, I'd really like aircon. That would make a big
Ah.
difference, man. That would make it would make a big difference. I would really like a nice air conditioner, but it's a bad time to buy them at this time of year.
Mhm.
You know, and mainly for the drying period is what I'm thinking. You know, and like the last week of harvest to really bring those temperatures down to try and keep some more terpenes. That's something I would like to change about my grow room. Expensive though, expensive
Mm-hmm.
and loud. Mhm. What can you do? But that would be a nice thing to have. What about you, Monkey? What are you saying?
Uh, Probably I've gotten used to growing in small tents, except what I would really like is more height. I mean,
Mm.
my tents are only 5 feet tall instead of 6 feet tall, and that extra foot, you don't think it's much. It's
Mm-hmm.
huge. It is huge. That's the one thing I would change. I've gotten used to growing in a fairly, you know, my tents are in meters would be 0.9 by 0.5, or that's the floor space, and only 5 feet tall, so 1.6 tall.
Mm.
That's not a lot of space. So, but the floor space I can manage. I've gotten used to that, but it's the height. Sometimes it's like, okay, certain strains, when they get stretchy, you've got to get innovative. I remember my first strawberry cough plant, halfway through stretch, I had to get it out the tent and literally spiral wrap it around a form so that it would
Mm.
fit in a smaller tent. But that's my biggest problem. But they don't make a tent that'll fit the footprint I need that has the height I need.
There you go.
So once you go higher, it becomes wider and all that stuff too.
Yeah, you know, there are some exceptions to some manufacturers, but the tent size that I use, it's made to fit into like a standard closet in the standard bedroom kind of thing, like not a walk-in, but the standard, you know, regular closet. This is they construct these things so you can grow in your bedroom basically. Well, they just happen to fit really well where I have them. But because these things are made to fit in a closet, you're not going to find them any taller because that wouldn't fit in a closet.
Hmm.
But
Right.
this was what I agreed, and I will stand by my commitment. When I agreed to do this, the Mrs. and I sat down, and this is the size that she was comfortable with, and the
Mhm.
size she's still comfortable with. So I'm okay with this.
That's another important mistake you don't want to make right there. Don't
Don't
piss
piss off
off the
your
other half. Yeah.
hell no.
Mm-hmm.
The wife, girlfriend, kids, none of that, because that'll all get you into trouble, man.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's very interesting topic because I hope we can all find flaws in our previous grows anyway. Not that I want the grows to be shit, but you should always be able to find something that you think could make it better. You know, so think about it, man, and see what you can come up with. I always find more extraction would be a good thing as well. You know, some intake, especially in these hot temperatures. I don't have
That was the
enough
first
intake
thing
in
I
mine.
upgraded on my tent. After my first
Mm,
grow was I updated to a better, quieter, more efficient extractor
mm-hmm,
and a bigger carbon filter
mm-hmm.
for odor control. That was my first upgrade.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, that, you know, there are basics. Yeah, I mean, I could go tell you tell you everything step by step. It's extractor. Next thing I had to go was the light, of course, because everybody buys a cheap light when you start. So
And
yeah,
and something you can learn from your previous grow as well. Are you growing enough? You know, did you run out in between the harvest compared to when the next grow was finished? So do you need to grow more? Do you need to change your grow technique to put more cannabis in, or too much? Or you already got too much? You know, shit like that as well.
it actually is a real thing right there. Are you growing
Mm-hmm.
more than you need? Because if you are, it can get you in some other kind of problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mhm.
if you're a personal grower, it's one thing, and you'll be judged as a personal grower differently. If you're have to deal with law enforcement, but if you're
Yeah.
growing so much that you've got all this extra out there, you may be
Yeah.
treated a little bit
You
differently.
got sitting on 100 ounces or something and be like, that's a bit much
Exactly.
now.
It is. Oh, it's all personal use. They're gonna like, yeah, really?
You know, put the tents down or make some hash or something. Jesus. But yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, so many different mistakes you can make when you're doing this hobby. But the most important thing is that you learn from them. And, you know, learn from our mistakes, learn from your mistakes, learn from the diaries over on Percy's Grow Room, because we see mistakes over there sometimes as well, man. You know, the mistakes are nothing to be ashamed of. It's all part of the learning curve. So don't try and hide them like they don't happen. Let us see them over at percysgrowroom.com. And we'll either laugh about it together or try and figure out the problem and fix it. Yeah.
Or both.
Or both. Or both.
Yeah.
You know. Right. Shall we move on to some listener mail questions? I mean, is there anything else to cover there? You know, just different ways you can learn from your previous grow. You know, just don't be too hard on yourself. All right. You know, just because you're looking for mistakes in the grow and things you could have done better doesn't mean that the grow went badly. It just means that you're looking for the best possible, isn't it? So yeah, enjoy the grow. Anything else to add about learning from your previous grows?
No,
Doing
not
good.
really.
Right,
No,
cool.
so learn by doing. So just do.
Right, some listener mail questions then. And we've got a few good ones here. Let's start off with Supranic, who asks, I have a question for the panel. What veg time would you recommend for pot size? Like 4 week, 6 week for 3 gallon? Sorry for the freedom units. So you understand that jargon he's speaking there, Monkey.
The what now?
I don't know, just the random words he's speaking with this gallon and thing.
Yeah, a
What
gallon.
What's
Yeah,
one of
pot
those?
size, like, what question? What veg time would you recommend for pot size? Like, I don't understand what.
So what pot size would you have on a plant that's like in cocoa up to 2 weeks old?
2 weeks?
Oh,
I was
fuck!
waiting for that to come
Fuck.
up at some point.
Fuck!
I
Fuck.
almost bought that t-shirt the other day. 2 weeks. But anyway, I don't know. I just grow differently on that. So I don't veg based on pot size. I veg based on plant size and when I'm gonna flip. So it's hard
Right.
for me to answer. I don't understand how I'm supposed to answer this question. The 4 weeks or 6 weeks for 3 gallons. I guess if I had to go with this, if I'm in a 3 gallon pot, I'm probably vegging 6 weeks total.
3
That
gallon
would
is
be,
about 12 liters.
yeah, about 12 liters, 11 to
Right.
12 liters.
I don't know,
That's,
man.
yeah, that's what I would be about 6 weeks for that. Because, yeah, sometimes 8 weeks, depending if it's a slow grower and if I've got something that's really, bolting fast, it may be flipped at 4 weeks. It all depends on the plant.
Yeah, man.
Freedom units, imperial units.
Yeah, I would. It depends on the medium that it's going in as well, doesn't it? You know, it's if you're growing
Sure,
in
and
soil,
I'm based on cocoa is going to grow faster, so I flip faster in cocoa. Excuse me. Soil, yeah, you can have slower veg growth, so you may have to veg it an extra week or so just to get everything going like you want it to.
Very interesting question. Pot size has always confused me when I was first time, because they're like, use a 20 centimeter pot, and it's like, what are you talking about? 20 centimeter fucking pot. I need to know, is that a liter? Is that 2 liter? What the fuck is a 20 centimeter pot?
Right.
And that pissed me off, man. You're just treating us all like idiots.
It's a 2 gallon pot. That's 7 liters, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
In a cocoa grow, I would go from a 1 liter pot for the first week, or maybe 10 days, and then it'll just go into its and it goes into a 3 liter pot then, yeah, for another couple of weeks, and then you see I said couple of weeks. Loophole.
How many?
And then a couple of weeks after that, then I'll put it
Okay.
into their main pots, which are 12 liter pots. So that's about 6 weeks veg time, really. Well, about 4 weeks veg time because of the seedling time, really. 4 or 5 weeks.
Right.
That seems
Mhm.
to work well for 12 liters in cocoa, 3 gallon. But when it comes to soil, that's a different story. I'd start off in a 1 liter pot just to get the thing up and running, and then put it straight into like 25, 30 liters of soil. Yeah. So the medium matters as well, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, hope that help answer. And then if it's in DWC, of course, then just whenever. Because that's just a bucket full of water. What do you
Right.
think about this one, Margie? What pot sizes do you use throughout your grow?
Well, I've been doing micro, so I'm trying to do them in mugs and
Mm,
beer cans. So I
right,
don't
right.
even know how that applies. Or maybe, yeah. And sometimes I'm just like, what pot do I have in the garage? Oh, this will work. So it's
Mm,
pretty unscientific. And I should probably take more notes. But I mean, everything you're saying, like, give or take 6 weeks seems to make a lot of sense. But there's always exceptions, which it can make the question difficult to answer sometimes. But
Exactly.
as a
Yes.
rule of thumb, 6 weeks sounds good to me.
yeah,
Reasonable. Yeah.
do
Yeah.
it. Do it. And like
And
we said,
then if you're uncertain,
sorry,
you know
Marge.
what to do. You go to Percy's. I hear it's free.
Mm-hmm.
This
And
week it is. Yeah. This week.
yeah, and then just confirm there as well. You can just post your pictures and get feedback.
Yeah. And like we said, we're talking about learning from your grows here and previous mistakes. Have you grown it previously? Can you remember what happened on the last grow? Did it run out of root space too soon? Did it need more? Did you transplant it too early? If you keep notes of things like this, then you can look
That's what
back at the mistakes you're making and fix them in the
grow
future ones.
diaries, man. Grow diaries are so good for that.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and look back at your past diary, figure out what you did, what you need to fix. That's
Mm-hmm.
why, yeah, you want, if you're a new grower and you want to hone your skills, come to Percy's, run diaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have an interesting one here from Billy. He says, how can the cannabis growers and community make companies make more environmentally friendly products for us to use with our favorite hobby, e.g. hemp plastic, gloves, pots, etc., more bamboo/hemp/mushroom made products? We need to boycott cheap plastic when our waste can make it.
I'm just going to start up by saying, Billy, I'm really proud of you for making this a legit question that does not involve any kind of sexual
Socks.
connotation
Yeah.
Fucking
whatsoever. And I
round of
really
applause for
think
Billy.
this is a great question. Yeah, a round of
Damn.
applause for Billy.
Exactly.
Well,
But this is a great
definitely
question.
add in clap sound effects there.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a good question. I think we should be making more use of these products like bamboo, hemp, mushroom made products, because all that plastic, I mean, we're just contributing to the problem of garbage if we're using it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
man.
mean, the only way we can do anything about it is he pretty much alluded it right there. We have to vote with our dollars.
That's right.
Right.
But with the wallet, don't buy anything else. It's going to be more expensive, maybe more difficult to get hold of. But if you want to, make a statement, then you
Yeah,
just
I
head in
mean,
that direction. Like Michael Jackson said, isn't it? I'm looking at the man in the mirror. What a fucking tune, by the way. What a fucking tune. That man in the mirror tune.
But I would say too, I've bought some of those like compostable pots before of various sizes just for like flowers and different things in my garden. And they do last a while, even though they will I've had them decompose over time when I sort of buried them in my garden, but you can probably use them for multiple grows. So even if they are a little bit more money, then I don't know if it's setting you back a whole ton.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
know what
hate
you're
to see
saying.
it. I hate to see it during the spring. You see lots and lots of people around here will have just stacks of the plastic flower pots out in front of their house. They just went to the garden center in the spring, put in their annuals or whatever they're doing around the house. And the pots are just garbage. They're on the curb.
Yeah. I save a lot of them just because I don't like to toss them away and I'll reuse them for stuff. But you do end up with a ton of them if you're putting in flowers every year.
Mhm.
See, man, what adds up? I didn't
You
know
can
you
do
could
like
get
me,
bamboo
start your
pots and shit.
flowers in your grow tent before you get your cannabis going in the spring, and then you don't have to buy those plastic flower pots.
Yeah, and don't do that the other way around. Indoors to outdoors, not outdoors to indoors. Don't do that.
Yeah, indoors to outdoors. Start your flowers indoors and then move them outdoors. And then after
Right.
you get your flowers are started, then plant your cannabis indoors.
Right.
Unless you're in a legal state, then have at it.
What other ones do we have here? Which one was that? That was from Billy. Yeah, what can we do? Like we said, get them to vote with your dollar, innit? You just
Yeah, pretty
buy
much.
from companies that you support.
Yeah, and if you see companies that are really stupidly blatant about the waste, I mean, I hate to say put them on blast, but let the rest of the community know about it.
Yeah, man. And if you can't find anybody that sells a specific thing that you think should exist, maybe that's a gap in the market for you to take advantage of, man. You can open up some kind of business there,
Yeah, like a super high quality oscillating clip-on fan for tents that everybody
fuck me,
is
you know what I'm
looking
saying?
for. Everybody wants one of those things.
Jesus.
All metal parts, quiet operation, the last 10 years. Yeah, fine. I'd love one. Don't get me started.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm going through the same problem right now. And it's summertime, so they're all like £100 for a fan. Like, fuck off. Fucking not really £100. I'm exaggerating. But they're much more expensive than what they're worth, simply because it's summertime. I'm gonna wait until it's winter time and I'm gonna buy new fans. It's not that far away now. A few more weeks. Might as well be winter. But yes, good question there, Billy. Let us know if you can come up with anything, or if you do anything yourself to try and be more conscious about your products and shit. And if anybody knows of any links that has hemp clothing and things like that, then let us know about that as well, man. That'd be cool to see over on the forum. Fire top, we have one. That's what's next. How's it going, people? Don't really know how to word my question, so bear with me. Question. Is there a way to veg outside plants all year round? I have a gelato OG outside in the ground that's loving life, but nowhere near flower. I've missed the summertime now in the UK and heading towards colder weather, but would love to keep it bushy until next year's summer if possible. If this plant is doomed, it is what it is, but would love to keep her going if there's a choice. Keep it popping, people. That's from Firetop. So he has a big bushy plant in the back garden, and he wants to try and keep it alive until next year. Can't really do it, mate, I'm afraid.
I was gonna say where I'm from, that is not gonna happen.
Yeah, first of all, it's temperature, right? Gotta worry about that.
Yeah.
The second thing is lighting. He's gonna have to keep it from blooming, so he's gonna need supplemental lighting. You have to keep it above, I would say, 14 hours light?
Yeah, everyone's going to be like, who's that dodgy bastard with the grow lights in his garden?
Yeah, why has he got that pink light on for 3 hours every night,
The only thing you can do is take cuttings of it, man. Bring it indoors and keep it alive over the winter, and then grow it out again next year. It'll be the same plant, just smaller. So take some cuts, get some to root if you can, and then just keep a mother plant, man. That's what you can do. Keep it small, growing it under CFLs, and just a little small grow tent to the side. Yeah, maybe you have to trim it down a couple of times before the season begins again, but you have to get it out next year and it'll be good.
Yeah, you could build an enclosure around it, but then you're going to have to heat it, and that's going to take electricity to do that, or something to that effect. So I don't know if it's going to be worth the money to keep it alive outside all winter.
How cold does it get in the UK, like in the wintertime?
Yeah, below freezing. Like
Right.
-10, I think we got to last year. I don't even know. It was cold. I won't look at the temperatures when it's cold. It's not worth knowing.
Well, you're not really too sure, but that sounds pretty frosty, and I feel like, yeah, it's gonna die.
The plant will die outside, no doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe you could keep it warm somehow, but then the lighting, that it's just gonna flower, and then come to the end. So best thing you can do is take cuts of it, man, to bring it indoors. That's all you can do.
Or move somewhere more temperate.
Yeah, man. What are you doing in the UK still, bro? Come on.
Right, go somewhere where it's hot.
What, haven't you left already? Everybody's left. I've left. I'm in Barbados now.
Yes, now we're talking.
Yeah. Is Barbados still a nice place?
You're down there with Rihanna?
Is that where she is?
A few years
That's
ago.
where she's from.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably avoid that place then.
I think you're good. You probably won't see her.
You never know. You never know.
But she is a big celebrity down there, though. Huge celebrity.
She's rich as fuck, you know. She's like a billionaire.
Oh, yeah.
actually, I know.
Fenty Beauty and all her music
Yeah.
stuff and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, she's done
Crazy.
quite well.
You got clothing
Mm.
lines out now and everything else.
Damn. I think it's all money laundering. I ain't ever seen anybody using any Rihanna makeup. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know, for it to be worth billions like that, no, she's getting paid off. She's getting paid off, bro, by the Illuminati. This is why she throws all them triangle symbols everywhere, like Jay-Z. Anyway, sorry, I was gonna go on conspiracy rant there. It's not really true. That I'm only joking. But maybe it is
Yeah, I don't
true.
think anybody was believing you anyway, Mackie. It's okay.
Why not? What is it not convincing? Was it not a convincing story? Yeah, just saying. Have you
no,
ever seen anybody wearing Rihanna makeup? The answer is no. Nobody's seen it.
Well, no, but I think she's not really designing it for the average listener of this show.
Oh,
Correct.
oh. What are you trying to
Just-
say, Marge? You
I
trying to
think we
say
all know
about
what
the
I'm trying to
listeners?
I
Yeah,
am going
true.
to. There is a question in the chat from Dr. Ebal.
I see.
Can I use vaped weed for edibles? Just want to say quick. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is
That's
that
all you
it? Is that it?
Yes, you
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Yes. already. I guess Overgrow Australia already answered it. It's already decarbed, so you're ready to go. That's why I love vaping. Also.
Yeah. And people can like sprinkle it on toast and shit like that, right?
Yeah, you can honestly
Mm.
because it's already decarbed.
Mm.
I got a gallon and a half of decarbed bud. Just no plans of doing anything with it.
I know. I just
Yeah, yeah.
collected
Like-
too.
It's just like jars of it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, sometimes you just want to like get to it. And you don't want to have to decarb anything. So there you go. You got your jar of
Yeah.
mystery.
I saw you had that commercial. You did you did a reel on Instagram with the Levo and decarb ADB. I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
wow, I could run the hell out of that.
Yeah.
So we have
Yeah.
another question here from Foamy Balls, and this is an interesting one. Question: if bad bugs are attracted to the smells of your cannabis plant, is there a way you can use an electric scented air machine to disguise or hide the smell that cannabis plants produce so it won't attract bugs?
Do cannabis plants smell of cannabis plants attract bugs or do they repel them? I thought part of the purpose
If I was a bug, that's what plant I'd be going for.
yeah, but but I think bugs work a little differently. But yes,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I would too, but
But you can use plants. You can plant plants next to it. I mean, like lavender's one of them. Is it? There's a few plants that bugs enjoy the smell of more, so they'll be more attracted to those plants.
Yeah.
And
Instead
you
of
can
what is it? Is it plant?
companion plant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, the thing is, instead of trying to hide the smell of the cannabis plant, you're doing exactly what Swami used to talk about all the time. That is, like he would put sunflowers around his cannabis plants because it was a certain worm that would go after the cannabis, but it liked the sunflowers better.
Mhm.
So it's not really hiding the scent of the cannabis plants with other plants to keep it away from the buds. It's more like offering the bugs something they want more.
right. So smart companion planting.
Yeah.
Yes,
Electric
always.
scented air machine to disguise or hide the smell. I mean, if you can get that scent.
I don't know
I
really
don't
how
know.
to do that, but
Is there an electric scented air machine? And it sounds to me like a packet of seeds of like sunflower seeds would be a lot cheaper as well.
well, it depends. But I'm using sunflower seeds because that's what Swami has an issue with, a certain type of a moth.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But it all depends what pest he's after. You know, he's trying to stop.
Yeah, that's also true.
But in organic gardening, that is a common practice, is to use companion planting to take the pest pressure away from your crop.
If you catch a couple of the bugs, like say the beetles, catch a couple of the beetles that are eating up on your plant, and then you put them in some water and you blend them up, you know, then you spray that around the garden, then all the other beetles will be like, fuck it now, he's killed John. You know, and then they're all freaked out because there's just little bits of their friends laying across the fucking floor. And then they'll stay away from your friends because they know that you're fucked up, right?
You're saying that these beetles are intelligent enough to identify this as parts of their buddies.
I'm just not underestimating that they might be able to do that. You know? Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, you can use plants. There's no need to use an electric scented air machine. You know,
That sounds so over.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what an electric scented air machine is. What does the electric
it's
smell
not like one of them
you know?
Glade plug-in things. You know,
Oh
you know
God, I
the
hate those
ones.
things. Or you could do like an essential oil diffuser around your plants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
mean-
actually I do run those plug-in things in my grow room just to put a little scent in the air in case they ever open the door, kind of thing.
Oh, I don't.
You know?
I prohibit it anywhere
No.
near the room. I don't want anything getting in there. And,
No, this is
and
just in the
tainting
lung room out
turps.
there. Just a little bit of odor, just to kind of make it smell normal. Because there are times when the missiles will walk in here. He says, "It smells like weed in here." I'll fix that. I got it. And that's just like I've been vaping too much, or maybe I've been trimming or something like that. It's not that the filters are bad, but just doing things, you know.
Just gets on them plants, man. They fucking spray shit. It's something
I'm
I
not
avoid.
spraying anything. No, I'm not spraying. This is like a hot oil diffuser thing, you know, that
Right,
kind of
like
stuff.
a candle that burns. One of those.
No, plug-in, electrical
Oh,
plug-in.
well, I think that's what he's talking about. One of those things outside.
Okay, but I mean, yeah, but that's not going to keep bugs away, but it'll keep people from it might cover the smell of your cannabis plant, but it's not going to keep the bugs away. But you'd need a whole lot of those things to cover the strong smell of a flowering cannabis plant. You'd need
Yeah,
a
especially in the
lot.
open air if you're doing it outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Heads on stakes, companion planting. That's all you need to do.
Yes.
I would companion plant by all means.
Yes. Companion plants. Yeah, I think you're overcomplicating it just a little bit there, Phil. No electric scented air machines, bro. Then we have mint sauce. The last question, this one. I have noticed in the forum when a grower has a problem, he or she is frequently advised to check the pH of the soil. So this is a little bit of a controversial one coming up, because everything's controversial nowadays. Questions. Does this information have any value at all, especially in organic soils? In nature, plants grow in heavy limestone soils with no problem at all. Is the pH of the soil or the pH of the water in the soil from which plants are all nutrients are assimilated by plants that matters? What is the best way to get pH reading of your soil to soil water, soil test, sinking in the probe, etc.? If the soil pH is off, is there any point at first and a safe way at second to get back onto 6 to 7? Or just water from a proper pH water nutrient solution is enough? There's a lot in there. There's a few questions in the whole
A four
thing.
pointer.
Yeah. And it's pretty much you need to check your water supply first off, because the water is preferred around 6.5 to 7.5. That's the range for in cannabis, right? Is that correct? In soil, I think it's right. There's a big buffer.
Yeah.
6.5 to 7.5.
Something like that.
And if you can just keep around a neutral pH, then the plants will most likely be fine and suffer no problems. And then even if you do go a little bit outside of those areas, if you're using a good soil that has the dolomite lime in, then that's going to help buffer the pH and keep it in the correct range as well. So you don't have to worry about it so much in soil as you do for hydroponic mediums. Hydroponic mediums, you need that pH to be within 5.8 to 6.2, or the plants are going to fucking suffer. It's not necessarily the same in soil. There's a bit more of a buffer, so it's not so strict. But if you have water coming out of your tap that is massively alkaline at like 8.5, and you feed that to your plant constantly, then it's going to start experiencing problems after a while. So I think it is a good idea to check the pH of the soil, even if it's just once, just to make sure that it is within the correct range. And if it isn't, then you're going to adjust it. And if you add anything to the water further down the line, then obviously check the pH again. But pH is too important to fuck with, man. Just
So you
make
are
sure it's
suggesting
in
he
range.
should check the pH of the soil, because I've never really worried about that. I just check the pH of the water.
Yeah, I usually see it at the site when people are asked to check the pH of the soil. It's after they've checked everything else. It's like check the pH of your inputs, check everything else. Okay, that didn't fix it. What's the soil look like?
Yeah. You add some of them nutrients and it goes up to like fucking 8.5 for the pH. You know, even higher, man, depending on what you're using. You know, if you're using a lot of PK or something, and you can change the pH, man. And you need to bring it back down when you add these nutrients, just to make sure that it's in the right place.
There are times when the plants can change the pH, but with root exudates, things happen sometimes. So yeah, checking the pH when all else fails, yeah, it's not going to be the first thing you're going to check, but you should definitely, yeah, if you have problems, I would check it.
So you don't test your pH, Marge, when because you grow soil. What's the score? Do you check it?
I check the pH of the water. I haven't really had to check the pH of the soil though.
Yeah, and that's it. When you're watering with a specific pH water over a certain amount of time, then the water going through it will change the pH of the medium. But if you get in a good quality soil, then it should be around neutral in the first place. There shouldn't be too much acidity in it. But that's going to tell you on the bag when you buy it. It will tell you what pH the soil is.
So I have
as you're
like a
buying it.
pH meter for water. How does one check the pH of the soil? This may be an obvious question, but
Well, that was part of the way, one of the parts of his question was asking about a meter versus a slurry test. I know I believe he prefers the slurry test where you actually add a little bit of either RO or distilled water, make a slurry with some soil, and then use your pH meter and check.
oh, I see. You just kind of liquefy your soil kind of thing with a
Kind of sort of that
bowl.
way. Yeah. And then there's also a soil pH probe that you can buy, just standard meter. And there's some
Right.
debate upon how accurate they are as to what part of the soil it touches. But yeah, there are some meters out there
When
stick in
you
the
know,
soil.
Twisted got some of those like a fucking Bluetooth and shit. And he connects to his Wi-Fi and his phone. God damn.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it out there. It's just,
yeah, that's some cool shit.
I'd say do whatever you're comfortable with. And I mean, I understand that there are going to be some differences. What I've found over my career in growing weed is you just pretty much adopt practices that start working for you. So yeah, if you want to do the slurry test, by all means. If you more prefer the probe, go for it.
I would probably try and get like squeeze some of the moisture out of the soil and see what
pH that is.
see what pH that is. Yeah, that would be.
You know, that's kind of what the slurry test is going to do anyway. You're going to add a little bit of water to it and make something you can squeeze out. Yeah.
But because that might mess with the initial reading, isn't it? Because you're adding water about 7.0, so you won't get an exact pH of what it is.
Distilled water is going to be so neutral and easily moved that anything in the soil should move it. It might be a slightly diluted pH, but it's not going to change it by much. Rainwater, distilled water, RO water, pH on that moves so fast. Any small amount of anything will affect it because it's clean. It's nothing in it.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the more difficult things, isn't it, checking pH with soil? I mean, they say you got them prongs, but like you said, man, I'm skeptical of their accuracy.
I have actually seen it in one that I was testing where I put it in there, leave it for a while, and I'd get a reading. Then I'd slide it down 3 inches or something like that, where it's touching a different part of the soil, leave it, I'd get a different reading. It's like, okay, so that in my estimate there, that was pretty crappy soil that was in that pot. Didn't want to use that. But what I'm basically saying is I don't really trust the probe 100%.
It's a guideline. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
But I think you're right, Marge. In most cases, you don't really check the pH of your soil to start with. You only look at it if there's an issue. If it's fine, you leave it alone.
Right.
Yeah, and then if it is off as well, you just give it a good watering at the correct pH, and it should restore at least after 2 feet. You know, maybe not the first one, second one you're most likely to get back on track.
Yeah, that's what some of our more experienced soil growers at Percy's do. And not commonly done, but yeah, if they have an issue, they'll do a flush till it turns around, and then they're good. Continue on normally.
The pH is just so important, man. It's underestimated sometimes, especially in soil grows. But, you know, don't underestimate it. Make sure the plants are happy. Remember that whole big deal was made out of things when it was like acid rain.
Oh God, that was that was the cause of my youth.
Yeah, remember
Oh yeah.
acid rain. But you know, it just makes the soil too acidic, and the plants don't like it. So they're all in soil, they're all in organic soil, but if it rains too acidic for too long, it starts to fuck with them. So, you know, pH matters to plants, man. And that's just make sure that it's in the correct zone. It doesn't have to be dead on. You just try and keep it around neutral because the plant will change and you'll buffer it itself here and there.
Mhm.
You know, that's what I think anyway.
Yeah. And keep your inputs as stable as you can because your plant has to adjust every time you change that input.
Mm-hmm.
I did see a question ages ago from somebody. What is the best place on the internet to learn to grow, and why is it Percy's?
Why is it?
Uh, I don't know. Is it the best place? I'm just biased, man. I'm just biased. But people like the place, and there's many forums out there. You know, you just have to find which one suits you. And there's other people out there on other forums who love their forums, and that's cool. And there's people on Percy's who love Percy's, and that's cool. You know, people just got to find which one's right for them, and Percy's is just right for a lot of people, I think.
Right.
It's a good
There's
community
8
over there.
billion people on the planet, and plenty of room for everybody.
Mhm.
Percy's is pretty chill, so there's also that.
Yeah, that's it. Chills, man. No docs allowed, says I'm Sparky.
That's true.
Oh, shit, there was another one. Could you make infused cornflake cakes from fire top? Yes, you could, mate. Yeah. Just mix it in with the butter and shit. Marge says that you can pretty much make anything to an edible. You just you infuse the oils with some kind of fat, like butter or grease or something, right, Marge?
Yeah, pretty well. If a recipe calls for some kind of fat, then swap it out, and there you go. You're getting high.
Hey
Mhm.
man, Rice Krispie treats
Oh,
infused.
Know what I'm
those are
saying?
so good
Know
and
what I'm
pretty easy to make.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just look for that question in the chat. It was way early on. I can't remember what it was. Shit. Did anybody put a question in chat that hasn't been answered? Just to
We got
remind me.
Halloween coming
I-
up. Maybe that could be a good Halloween treat I could bring to a party, huh? Infused our Rice Krispie treats. Super easy to make. Everybody
Yeah.
eats them, you know.
Sometimes you can throw a little Halloween colored sprinkles on top, and there you go. It's Halloween themed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I would eat that. But I would want more than
I would
one.
eat the fuck out of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
then
just
then
make
it'd be
them mild so
pointless.
that you could eat 3 or 4 of them and you'd be fine.
That's usually what I like to do. Yeah.
A dose is 4, so yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet then. I think we are good. That's it. That's all the listener mail questions answered there. And there's us explaining about mistakes and how to learn from them and how to make each one of your grows better and better. And it really just take experience and time, man. And you find this fine balance in between of being super on top of things to being lazy and not paying attention to anything. And you go backwards and forwards until you find a steady medium in the middle. There, I think. Yeah, because you start off, you're so strict on everything, and then then you start to get lax because you're like, oh, this is actually not as difficult as I thought it would be.
Yeah, you
And
get more
then,
comfortable with everything.
and
Yeah.
then you start checking the pH so much, and things start to go a little funny. But, yeah, good times, good times. So
Yeah,
should
you
we
need
move
to.
on to the outro? Sorry, Monkey, you finished.
So you have to find that middle spot where I'm at right now, where you're not checking everything all the time, but at least you're checking enough to know you're not going off the rails.
Right. And try to keep the ship on its course.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Nice and easy. And if you need any help, of course, you know where to find us over at percysgrowroom.com. Come and join the forum, show off your grow, help other people learn how to grow if that's your thing. Come and learn if you need to learn. Yeah, it's a good place, man. Come and check it
Win
out.
some good prizes too. Yeah,
Oh,
we give
yeah,
away shit.
the prizes. The prizes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good luck on whoever's winning the Blackbird this month, isn't it? It's Blackbirds.
That's right. We got a Blackbird to give away. We got a Solo 2 to give away. We've got another
Damn.
Riser comp coming up. I got to get with Mark and figure out what we're going to do there. But yeah, plus we got seed comps every month. So we got plenty of good stuff going on.
Percys
That's pretty crazy. Those are some good giveaways.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very lucky. So nice. Let's move on to the outro. Let's do it. So there we go. Episode 150 something. Can't remember which one. Yeah, but yeah, another show there, everybody. It's a damn good show. Damn good show. So, thanks for joining us, of course. Did you hit that like button? Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't done that already. That would be cool. And what else? Anything else to add here? March, you want to tell everybody where to go find Bite Me?
Yeah, you can find Bite Me, the show about edibles, on your favorite podcasting platform, or you can hit up the website at bitemepodcast.com.
Nice. And then Monkey Do over on Instagram. Right,
Yeah,
Monkey?
monkeydo_grows over at Instagram. And of course, over at Percy's, Mackie and I are always there.
That's
Well,
right.
not always, but we're there often enough, put it that way.
Most of the time. And the Discord server as well. We also have the Discord server, which is really easy to join and be a part of as well. So get over there if you're on Discord. Wow, so did anybody fucking get any good jokes this week? I heard a really good joke, but I fucking forgot which one it was, man.
Oh, we get a break. We get a break. Yes.
Shit. Shit. Oh, you got no jokes, Marge? You've been away for a week or so there. You might have experienced some new
Jokes?
Jokes? Got some jokes? Come on. Make us
No.
laugh, Marge. Nothing. Nothing.
What have I been doing for the last 2 hours? Come on.
Oh, true. Oh, man. I heard a good joke and I can't even remember what the fuck it was now.
I'm so bad for remembering jokes. And then I try to tell them and then it's just a disaster. So
That's what happens to me. You know?
I don't even bother anymore. I leave it to the
Shit.
professionals.
Yeah, that's right. That's the best thing to do. But I just like telling these jokes sometimes, and I like to tell them badly. I like jokes that are so bad they're funny. That's fucking funny.
Cracker jokes is what you're giving. Yeah.
No,
Right.
they're just terrible. And we have these chocolate bars called Penguins here in the UK, and they have jokes on the back of them as well. And they're so bad. Terrible jokes. But anyway, yeah. I suppose we don't have any jokes. Might as well just end the show then, because nobody wants to tell any jokes.
Do they still put jokes on the bazooka bubblegum wrappers?
Yeah, I remember those.
Probably.
Those were pretty bad.
They were, and the gum was even worse.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I
the gum
bought-
was
I
horrible.
bought it anyway because it was like 5 cents or something.
Yeah, it gets real soft and then it gets really hard and nasty after that.
Yeah, and the flavor lasted like 5 minutes.
Yep.
John Finnegan said, "I made about out of old watches. What a waste of time." Wow, John. That's what I'm saying, bro.
There's your
So
joke,
bad
Mackie.
you have to
There you
try
go.
and find humor in it. You know?
There's your joke, Mackie. You wanted one, a bad one, and you got one.
Yeah, you outdid yourself there, John, with that, bro. But what do we have next week? I forgot what the subject is about next week. Damn.
I don't know. I closed the thing.
Yeah, I think I closed the thing too.
I looked at it for a
didn't.
second. I
There
closed
we
it.
go.
But
There it is. It's open. Let me scroll. Optimizing water quality for healthy cannabis plants. That's gonna be a good one. Talking about making the water better. Yeah. Nice. So we'll catch you then, everybody. Sunday. Don't forget to get over to percysgrowroom.com and maybe buy some air conditioners. Yeah, air conditioning if you're in the UK because it's fucking boiling. God damn.
Yeah, I seem to remember a couple weeks ago, everybody in the UK complaining about it was freezing. It was cold and wet.
This is how we roll, man. We're never happy with the weather. It's part of being English.
I think part of being English is never being happy, period.
But yeah, that's right. That's right.
If it's not the weather, it's something else, you know.
I said some meme the other day where it's some guy with a London accent, and it's like year 5 kids when they're listening to the big bad wolf blowing down the second house, and the guy's just like, "Look at him, he's doing it again, the fucking cunt." it's just funny, man. The way they assimilated the two, because that's how it probably is. There is one kid in that school who does stand up and say, "He's doing it again, the fucking cunt." Fucking funny. Yeah, it's a funny meme. Go and find it, everybody. Anyway, the music's playing. We'll let you all go. But yeah, stay high and stay safe, everybody. Don't forget to go and watch the Hodge Twins. Subscribe and share. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. See you later.
you.